Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and I am live in San Francisco, California, and this is Friday Night Tights. What is up, everybody? And in places unknown, parts unknown, we have Susan Layton from 1428elm.com. How are you, Susan?
Hey, I am ready to go. Hey, everybody in the chat. We know you had a lot of other choices, but we're glad you chose us. Let's get this started.
Yeah, apologies for the late start, everybody. Just, I got a family, man. I got a family and a wife who calls. Mrs. Nerdrotic called last minute. So, hey, got to pick up the phone. All right. We have got a ton of stuff to talk about tonight. Susan came up with the best topic tonight, so that's going to be exciting to talk about. We have I heard from my insider just right before we went live, so I'm glad I waited a little bit. And it's right there in the title. The Star Trek Discovery numbers, season 2 numbers, are significantly down, and that is a quote. That is a quote from the insider. I have not verified with my other insider, but this insider is solid as a rock. I'm not going to say our love is, but that's and am I happy about this? I mean, yes and no. It's not, I'm not the kind of person who actually takes joy in the destruction of something, even if it's as bad as it is, as Star Trek Discovery is. I want Star Trek to be good. I want us all to be talking about, man, that was a great episode last night, and what the hell happened in this? That's not the case. We also have some Picard series news, and I was going to make a video on this, but screw it, you guys are just going to get what I was going to make a video on. So I'm pretty sure I know what the Picard series is going to be based on, so we're going to share that with you later. And boy, here we go. Tommelfinger, Star Trek Discovery season 1 episode 1 had 30,000 downloads, and episode 15 had 17,000 downloads. Season 2 episode 1 is currently at 9,000 downloads. 9,000. So I don't know if downloads is same as views. I don't know what the Netflix numbers are internationally. They must be bigger. They have to be bigger because it's on Netflix. Thank you, Tommelfinger. I appreciate that. Yes, the numbers are down quite a bit. We also a little later on, I'll give you my thoughts. I watched the first episode of The Punisher, and I'll give you my thoughts on that and all kinds of this and whatever you guys want to talk about, right, Susan? Because it's their show.
Oh, it is. It is your show. So if you have anything you want to say to us, just at Nerdrotic and at me, and we'll get you. We'll talk to you. Yeah,
we'll talk to you because we like talking to you. We interact here. Yeah, and we tried to let things go as late as possible to let other streamers stream and stuff. Right. It's funny that it is the first thing we did a Friday Night Tights. The podcast has been going on for over 5 years in some form or another. But we started Friday Night Tights on a Friday. I decided that, let's start doing this thing regularly at roughly the same time on the same day and try to build an audience. And it seems to have worked. But the first thing we covered was The Punisher.
Wow.
Season 1. Yes, full circle. I have I have mixed feelings about the episode. It's not really in the quality. It's just what's to come or what's not to come about that.
Because I heard it's going away.
Yes, it is. I mean, we could say you heard it here first, but I'm sure you all guessed it since they canceled freaking Daredevil. Okay. If they canceled Daredevil, this thing is done. And no matter how good it is.
Well, and plus Bernthal's already, like I told you last night, he's already signed on for the Sopranos prequel.
Yep.
So that doesn't sound, it's promising for him, but not promising for a future of that show.
I could only assume this stream received its name from the fact that Gary is currently wearing tights. Lord Lovecraft, how'd you know? How'd you know? I am currently wearing tights. I actually do have legs. You don't see them. I'm not like just some meat puppet here. But no, I won't. I'm currently wearing tights.
That's what they call actors in New Zealand, meat puppets.
Meat puppets, yes. It's also a good band. Very good band.
Very good.
Yes. So actually, it's called Friday Night Tights because we used to mostly talk about superhero news, but then we started shifting into genre TV. Yeah, I am a former comic shop owner, so I have a love for the men in tights, superheroes and women, men and women in tights.
Yeah, throw the women in there. Well, you don't have to, but
Well, they don't wear tights anymore now. They wear,
they wear bikini pants.
Yeah, well, they used to. Those are the good old. Sorry, those are the good old days. Now they wear just like jeans and stuff that's easy to cosplay. It's really sad. What cosplay has done to comics is horrific. Thank you for flying Nerdrotic Airlines. Yes, Small Yoda 3. We are currently cruising at Warp 5. We're not using our Spore Drive tonight. Actually, yeah,
we're in plaid. We're actually we've gone plaid.
We've gone yes. Yes. It's a mauve alert. It's a mauve alert.
Mauve.
Yeah. Okay. So you left Doomcock's rant. He's probably still ranting. I talked to Doomcock today. He had 30 pages of notes on that, which I had like 10. But you guys have heard my rant on Star Trek Discovery, and the live stream is up. And then I also did a short video. If you don't want to listen to the whole live stream, and those are on the channel, you can check them out. Real quick, Creature Features appearance is a week from this Saturday. So I will let you guys all know.
Please do.
Yeah. And we thank you, Tekkaman Blade, for we're at 32,000 subscribers. It's crazy what's been going on, and it's fun. Great. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much. And just to let you all know, there is a Doctor Who video coming out Monday.
I saw that.
Yeah. So it's on the schedule. Yeah, the schedule's going to have to get, unfortunately, Mrs. Nerdrotic is traveling to Japan in the next couple of days for a long time. So I'm going to be single dad mode. So we're going to have to, we're going to have to adjust. The big stuff is going to stay up, but there's some other stuff that I'm just not going to be able to get to later or something, but nothing big. We're going to pick back up with, why is my blanket? Project Blue Book. We missed this week because that was just a complete brain fart on my part. I just forgot it was on. I'm like, oh my God. So we'll pick that back up.
Yeah.
And True Detective and all that stuff we're gonna cover. So we can get into let's start out with Star Trek Discovery and the Star Trek news.
Yeah.
All right. So the Insider did report the numbers were down significantly. But you can also guess this. There is a way for you guys out there to see if there's an interest in a show or not. And it's pretty easy. I've been covering television on this channel, for a year, pretty hardcore. And it's pretty easy. All you have to do is look at the interest on Twitter, but look at the interest on YouTube, especially with genre shows. People really love what we love about genre shows is it's world building. They're the good ones have intricate plots and people want to talk about them, or they want to go to YouTube channels. So you just pick 3 or 4 of the bigger YouTube channels that cover TV regularly and cover a show regularly. So even if it's a specific YouTube channel to a show, like Nerdrotic channel with I don't know if we have a specific show. Doctor Who's our number one thing here, but listen, I cover The Expanse and Star Trek Discovery too. And you just see how much interest is in the recap videos. And if there's, thousands upon thousands of views, then there's interest in that show. If there isn't, there's not interest in that show. Counterpart is a prime example, for lack of a better word. I hate to use it as for the bad news, but there's just not a ton of interest in it right now. I'm trying to change that. But
we can't sugarcoat it. It's in a serious way because since you last did a video on Counterpart's situation, the Claire came out again on Twitter, and so did Justin Marks. And they've reiterated that Counterpart's in trouble.
Yeah, and we're going to actually get to that later. Okay, yep. We're gonna find those tweets and talk about it because I don't know if they saw it. Listen, they're not going to want to affiliate themselves with me because I'm pretty critical of Doctor Who. So I can understand why a TV like the creators, excuse me, the creatives behind a TV show would not want to associate with me, which is great, which is fine, because I do not want to be attached to anybody. That keeps me free. It keeps both of us free. And then, you know, you have certain limitations because of your website. So I mean, there's certain things you can't go hardcore on, which is, everybody here understands that.
Yeah.
But you speak your mind. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
So with Star Trek, there, the interest was down across the board.
Are we surprised? Not really.
No, because I have you add 2 zeros to my subscribers, what I had last time I was covering Star Trek. So when season 1 came around, that was like the first thing that really boosted us, and we had 300, 400 subscribers, and it's actually the thing that got us to 1,000. But we got pretty much the same amount of views than we did. Now it's a little bit, but percentage wise, it's down. And I was, you know, first, of course, I look within. I like, oh, well, maybe it's me. Then I looked across the board, and no, everybody's pretty much down on it. There's articles out there, and one I'm going to show you, they really want you to forget about season 1. And it's, listen, within the episode, they admitted that season 1 was a mistake. You know, the roll call. Susan, they did a roll call because, you know, one of the biggest complaints is we didn't know who the crew was. I mean, this is the first Star Trek series ever. You just didn't know the crew. They did mention some of their names throughout season 1, but like it was once or twice.
Oh, please tell me it wasn't like the Dennis Quaid commercial where they're like, tell us more, Dennis Quaid. Tell us more, Ensign whatever.
That's exactly.
Please no.
Pike sat down and said, okay, I need to know who I'm working with. I need a roll call for get your rank. And they went around the horn and they did a roll call. And okay, so if I have to actually tell professional writers, somebody who dropped out of freaking high school, when you are writing a script or a comic book, you have to mention somebody's name at least twice within the comic. Somebody has, and even if it's an obvious, like, you know, the Orville, they go, hello, Bortus, you know, they make sure to say Bortus's name at least once an episode.
Right.
So that's how you get to know somebody. So this is like really obvious shit. And this shows what kind of hands they're in right now.
If you have to do a freaking roll call on your show, you need to cut the cast.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, I'm sure they have to do a roll call in the writer's room because they've had such turmoil in there.
Oh,
so
well,
maybe that's how things get lost. But
but there's a great quote from Alex Kurtzman about losing things, falling through the cracks that I'm sure we'll get to.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm going to get to my Google Doc. Why don't you read a couple chats while I get the Google Docs up here?
Thank you, JPRPH1, for the $14.99. We really appreciate that.
Wow.
Gary and Susan, the roll call was hilarious. I thought of you right away. LOL. I bet you did. Hashtag writers roll call.
I was cracking up.
Oh, well, it sounds dull. Yeah. And here's an interesting, the Lethal Diva says Picard is a limited series now, not a full series. Yeah, that's what we found out. It's a limited series.
I'm pulling that up right now.
And maybe that's a good thing.
I got to thank the King of Scotland for pointing that out in Twitter. I had picked this article out to talk about tonight, but I had not read it because I like to read them here with you. Yeah. And he said it's a limited series. Now they had mentioned prior when they said they're going to about 6 months ago, they said we're planning 5 spin-off. We're planning 5 series that are all going to be different in tone. So that's why the Georgiou announcement was such BS, because they have 5 things in development, but this is when they initially brought in Kurtzman for the 5-year deal. That was part of the 5-year deal. That does not mean anything is for sure right now, because it's not.
Right.
It's not. So there we go.
Hey, Mark Tuttle, thanks for the $5. We really appreciate that. And Mark says, you know why the initials are STD? Because it's painful once a week and you wish it would just go away.
Oh, that is beautiful.
That was a good one. Good one.
Beautiful. And I just had it and lost it here. Okay, so we have a. I'll just breeze through this here a little bit. Star Trek Discovery boss talks Tig Notaro, Picard limited series, and season 3. Tig Notaro is supposed to be this big deal.
Yeah.
I didn't find it to be much of a big deal, to be honest with you.
She and I are sort of 6 degrees of separation, and so am I to Alex Kurtzman.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Scared the crap out of me, but you'll find out when you read the article, and you'll see.
All right, I'm going to jump right to this paragraph, and then we'll go back. But this paragraph, I feel such a debt to the cast and Drew. Does that say Drew? It says Drew.
Drew, what?
This is Variety, right? Okay, yeah. I feel such a debt to the cast and Drew of this show. Don't feel like I can leave it. Is he saying goodbye? I don't feel like I can leave it. That sounds like he might be saying goodbye.
No.
Kurtzman said with post-production of season 2 of Discovery nearly complete, Kurtzman is turning his immediate focus to the limited series that will revisit the character of Captain Jean-Luc Picard, played by Patrick Stewart. Now, I had actually said on this podcast a long time ago when this first got announced, I said, this will be the limited series. There's no way Patrick Stewart is going to commit himself for years upon years.
No.
And yes. So we saw what damage they can do to a major character in just one episode without having the main actor in it. It was just him as a child with Spock. They undermine the Spock character, and it's horrific. So Spock was a fearful little child with nightmares. Listen, we know Spock had some emotional issues. I mean, they insinuated that a lot because of the half human side. But when they said in the episode, when Sarek is talking to Michael Burnham, and he said he wanted her specific duty because she was a fully realized perfect human being at the age of 9, that she was going to teach her sibling empathy because he wasn't born with it. He's half human. Also his mother, they mentioned, well, why can't his mother teach him? And Sarek says, well, his reverence for his mother, and then Michael Burnham finishes the sentence because she can finish everybody's sentences because she says them better. She actually should talk for you. She says, oh, his reverence fills the room. Okay. What? So there's 2 references to maybe Spock having a crush on his sister and maybe having a little bit of Oedipus Spock. I don't know.
Why are we doing
I don't know why. So, okay. So we go up to the top of this article. There are many mysteries in the Star Trek universe, like why Kurtzman is in charge. I added that little bit. One of them was explained on Thursday night at the season 2 premiere party of Star Trek Discovery in New York, when showrunner Alex Kurtzman revealed the backstory of how Tig Notaro found her way onto the spaceship in a role as in her role of the brilliant engineer Jet Reno.
Now, I will say Jet Reno is a majorly cool name. It is.
Absolutely. But in the episode when we were introduced to Jet Reno, her ship had been crashed on an asteroid that was falling apart and going towards the pulsar for 11 months. It was 120 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe they said, in the ship or something like that. She had saved she single-handedly saved the rest of the crew got off the ship. I don't know if she did it single-handedly, but the critical had to stay back. There was about 10 critical mixed species aliens. She was doing brain surgery on one of them, and she's an engineer. And when they asked her, she goes, well, it's just a body is just a machine. She read a book and made a couple of drones, and she was able to do open heart surgery, had the heart outside in a tank.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was we needed, okay, there was I forgot to mention this in my review. They needed to adhere and qualify for or adhere to the Bechdel test. So they just decided to do it all in one swoop, except for the 2 women in a scene together, not talking about a man. So yes, that's Jan Reno. Turns out Kurtzman and Notaro have worked together before. Oh, really? More than
Yeah.
20 years ago, when they were both employed as assistants to filmmaker Sam Raimi and Rob Tappert at the duo's Renaissance Pictures banner in Los Angeles.
There it is.
Oh,
my connection. There it
Sam.
is. Damn it.
The apple fell so far from the tree on that one. It's still rolling down the
answered phones, though. They just answered phones.
Well, that's probably that's like saying I had lunch with Robert De Niro and we just happened to eat in the same Denny's together or something like that. She answered phones. Okay. And I answered phones, Kurtzman told Variety, and they were both fired for it because they couldn't even answer freaking phones right. The two, I'm just guessing on that one. The two stayed friends over the years and had her in mind when the Reno character was crafted for season 2. I thought, it has to be Tig. He said, he's gratified to see her performance, a departure for the comedian, generate such buzz in the early reviews for, she generated such buzz in the CBS website owned reviews on her sophomore season. Please see my video on that one. Okay, guys, I read that TV Guide article. From time to time, it's part of the job here for me to search news. So Star Trek, Doctor Who news is something I'm searching pretty much every 30 minutes. I mean, when I get up in the morning, I kiss my wife and wake up Junior, I make some coffee and I check news. I take a shower, then I check news. I mean, I'm always doing it. So the news had dropped for like an hour and I read that TV Guide headline and I read the article and I'm like, God, this sounds like a freaking back of a DVD or something like that. So out of curiosity, and I know that Doomcock pointed this out and he had learned it on Twitter, but I actually I did it on my own. And but I do this with every website now since the comicbook.com thing. And what
happened there?
CBS. Oh, well, comicbook.com is owned by CBS. Comicbook.com, which is supposed to be about comic books.
Right.
I think it was either, I'm pretty sure it was Midnight's Edge, who they probably figured it out. And I noticed it too. And a lot of us did that. There's a lot of Star Trek articles coming from comicbook.com. Like they're getting like stuff first. That's weird. And I think they just looked into it. They went, that's weird. I wonder who owns them. And that's all you have to do is just Google it and figure it out. And as less and less companies exist because they're gobbling up, it's not hard to figure out. The one thing that's hard to figure out is what Disney owns, because Disney owns so many other companies that are so far separated from Disney that it won't show up. So I love when they put in quotes right here, if you can't see it, the writers, the writers room has spent
a lot. That's funny. That whole paragraph there. It's just, I couldn't even get through it. I was like, oh, deep thoughts.
Oh, dude, who's the writer? I think Cynthia's like sending us a little message here. Props, Cynthia. The writer's room, she's probably writing this thing going, God damn it, I gotta make this thing I gotta make it nice. How could I get quotes around the writers? The writers room has spent a lot of time giving really deep thought to how we do meet fans' expectation and how we defy them entirely.
Can I just say that what that said to me was how we meet fans' expectations. Okay, we pretend to hear them, and then we just do what we want.
I should have goddamn, I'm going to rename this podcast, How Star Trek Writers Defy Fans Entirely.
Yeah.
That's a really tough thing to do. No, you've actually really pulled it off. Well done, quote unquote writers. Discovery star Sonequa Martin Green echoed Kurtzman's sentiment about feeling the weight of Star Trek's long and proud legacy in her work. Oh, the weight. It's so hard keeping up with canon. We have to like look up things and check our scripts and stuff. A show that presents a hopeful vision of a multicultural future is an important message in any era. Yeah, it's because that's what Star Trek has always been. And my biggest, everybody's we're talking to Sinico Martin Green here. Everybody in the chat, I'll speak for you. I'm sorry. But you guys keep coming out like you're the first to do it. That's what the biggest beef we have with you is you are presenting yourself as the first to be the multicultural Star Trek. You are just the latest. That's it.
Yeah.
That's simply the latest.
Well, in the next article that you had, I don't know if you're going to read it.
I will.
Pretty much, if you look at it, what you're talking about now and what we've been saying about how this is a Star Trek for other people, not Star Trek fans, pretty much is said in the next article, but in a flowery way.
Haven't I just gone through this with Doctor Who? I mean, it's pretty much video. I have a complete, I think I did. I'm upwhere around 20 Doctor Who videos, maybe around there. And that's pretty much the overarching theme is we want new fans.
Right.
You can't pick your fans. You present a work and you get fans. You can't go, I'm going to make a work to get this type of fan, especially when you don't do the research. That type of fan you're looking for doesn't buy anything. They're finding this out though. They'll talk about it. I saw this a ton at the comic shop, and believe me, it still blows me away when you live long enough to see poser nerds. There's a difference. There's a difference between like new nerds who are just, they're just new, and that's cool. We want more nerds. It's great. It's wonderful. But people who really aren't into it and are just, especially in Hollywood, or they're using it for the resume or using it to look cool. I don't know why they just exist. Why they exist is not my problem.
Because geeks and nerds now run Hollywood.
They do.
Supposedly. They do.
And we all saw that coming, by the way. And so by whatever reason, it's people who just like to talk about it. And, I'm sorry if I don't want to offend anybody who owns Funko Pops, but that's kind of the stereotype. It's called the Funko Pop crowd. And listen, those Funko Pops, they were like printing money at my store for a long time. But then there was a point I actually stopped selling them. I couldn't stand them anymore.
What was interesting, though, out of the article is Kurtzman saying he's hiring a co-leader to help with his load as he juggles other Star Trek projects.
Is that up at the top here?
Yeah. Could that be maybe code for he needs a handler?
Well, they gave him one, Van Sitters.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But now he needs somebody else.
Well, and that one of the other articles I linked to you, it sounded like they were walking. I mean, the headline alludes to them walking some stuff back. They were talking, and we'll get to that. I'm going to get to the chat, and then we're going to get to that. So, yeah. So
we have another great chat here from JPRPH1 $4.99. TOS had a hugely multicultural cast, but it didn't interfere with the plots and were not the plots themselves. That's very true. Very true.
Well, I mean, like it's Hollywood and entertainment's in general's worldview is on display for everybody to see. They're two-dimensional worldview. I've told you before, when I went down to work there, and you've worked there too. The first thing that surprised me the most was how little work was put into stuff that cost millions of dollars. Like a surprising amount of, like when you hear that the writer's room had a meeting for a TV series, and you think that they spent months plotting this out.
Right.
No, it's like it's a lunch. Like they'll plot out a 10 episode series or a 20 episode series over lunch.
Well, now it's even worse because we don't even get that. We get a vague sketch of an idea at like the AFM, for when they're down Santa Monica. I think it's every March when they go to sell indie films and TV shows. Somebody will go and just pitch an idea. No treatment, nothing. And Jesus, they get like, $1 million deal.
Oh, I was down at when I had my comic book and I was publishing my comic book in the early 2000s. I was in Artist Alley, and that was the time when they were going in Artist Alley and just optioning everything they saw, like sight unseen, like the Boondocks. I was there when that got optioned. The guy was crying. He was so happy. And they only gave him 10 grand. They gave him 10 grand. I mean, it worked out for him, but the options were, of course, they didn't ask me, which is fine. But yeah, they had producers trolling around at Artist Alley, just, swiping up properties for nothing. People, they would, it's part of it. And then you lost that thing you created all your life for like a used Honda, basically. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute! I have another one.
Got some more. Yeah, I'm gonna catch up on the super chats here. Yeah, I got a few here that we got to get to. Justin Poor, Australian $2. Issue with STD USS Burnham is not a USS Discovery. Fix it, right? Thank you so much for the Australian $2. Can I call you Bruce? Scaro Trek $2. The Kurtzman verse will be exterminated, and that is Davros right there. So, yes, my reality bomb. It's one of my favorite episodes. Silhouetted Animator for $5. Amazon is removing many low-budget films from Prime, not because of content but quality. Do you think that's unfair to the filmmakers? If the film, no, I'm sorry. This might sound a little cold-blooded, but you got to make something good. Now, if not because of content, because of if the quality is low, they have to listen. They have to have a certain type quality on their network. It's their brand. They need to design like this. Some stuff can bring something down. That's why people get canned from stuff, because sometimes it brings things down and it sucks, but that's the way you got to do it. What opens up another door though, Silhouetted Animator. YouTube, put your own stuff. It's a platform that's available right here. Yes. You actually own your stuff. Yeah, you get dick from the ad revenue, but it's still yours, and it's a platform that you can make money off it right now, like right this second. So it's a better platform for indies. I think more indie people are, and
Vimeo too is good. A lot of them.
Vimeo's good. If the Vimeo needs to get rid of their pay service though, if they want, and they could probably compete with YouTube at some day, but until they get away from that, it's not going to happen.
Well, and that's also like if you go to YouTube, if you're an independent filmmaker and you're doing proof of concepts or short films to get the funding to make your feature film, if you put it on YouTube, it's like you have a visual portfolio.
Yep.
And then it's right there. People can click to it. It's easy. And, it's much better than depending on somebody else's service that may or may not treat it well.
Yep. For now, I mean, YouTube's got its issues too, but I'm very grateful for YouTube. So the other thing is you got to kind of build your following first. Can't put cart before the horse on that one. Okay, TOS, you've already read that. The Doctor 14 Blu-ray reviews, £2. No question. Ask me a question. Ask Susan a question. Thank you so much. It's good to see you, my friend. The Big Red Bear, Canadian $10. Every time I see an STD Klingon, it pulls me out of the series. Even with hair, that doesn't fix that. What they've done to the Klingons. What were they thinking? They've explained it in the series twice. There was an article where they straight up admit that the change was due to fan criticism.
Yes,
that came out today too. There's been just an insane amount of Trek news dropping. That's why we're giving it to y'all here. Let's go to the chat a little bit, and then we'll go to the next article. How does that sound?
Great.
Yeah. The masses are too stupid to understand nuance and subtlety, according to Hollywood. Mr. Twisted 72, you are correct. And what happens is they put out a show like Counterpart, and they go, see, you guys are just too dumb to handle it. And they don't look into and it's Hollywood that doesn't understand nuance. that their network Stars is dying. It's a dying network in a dying medium, and it belongs somewhere else. I hope Anonymous Content is the production company that produces it. That is a smart, good company.
Yeah,
They Mr. Robot, just a lot of good stuff.
Stars, I don't understand Stars, because after they canceled some good shows, all of a sudden they started, figuring out, oh, hey, we have to market this better. We have to distribute it better. But yet they're still not doing it. So I'm confused.
They marketed it on Twitter, and I'm here to tell you right now, Twitter is, it's a lot of things. It's not a great place to market your TV show. It's a great place to go talk about your TV show.
Right.
But you look at Twitter, and its growth is stymied, it's stifled. So it's the same people on there. And listen, it's a great tool for a YouTube page, and it's awesome. And like I've found a way to dive back in and just kind of stay within the people we talk to and not really get into any Twitter beefs or anything. And I find I'm enjoying it a lot more. I just stay out of the, if somebody like, there's a lot of Dreckies out there who want to start crap with me. I just I ghost them. It's like I don't have time for it. I don't. I'd rather talk to the King of Scotland. And you guys are like been brilliant. You've been sending me, so keep it coming. And as far as the DMs, I'm getting through them. And it might take me a couple, 3 days, but I'm going to get to you. Okay. Just keep them coming. You guys have been brilliant. You've been an amazing resource for the channel. And I will be sure. Hey, if I forget to give you props, you let me know, and I'll give you props next video. Because that's, because you guys help. You guys, and I thank you. I thank you. DJ D Show, thank you for all the shout outs, my friend. I was listening to his show this morning. He has a fun morning show. It's kind of like a much cooler version of a wacky morning radio show. A little saltier. Yeah. So the DJ D Show, cool dude. That's why I listen to in the gym. That him and Anti-Trekker. The Boondocks was killer animation. Hidden Wiki. The Boondocks was a cool show. It was. Axonar. All hail Alec Peters, savior of the Star Trek universe. Oh my God. Eccleston, man, that name is long. I'm just going to say, it looks like Eccleston, so I'm going to say Eccleston. I'm sorry. Eccleston Sangle. I'm a simple man. I can't read. So, yes, Alec Peters, God, he sent me a message and I forgot to get back to it. We've chatted on Facebook a bit, and he is a perfectly cool dude. And I'm going to be doing an Axonar video. I am. And we will be, when they do come out with the 15-minute things, we'll be reviewing them just like we do a Star Trek Discovery. We will be giving them proper respect. Small Yoda 3, which Lost in Space are we talking about? The original show? Were we talking about it? I prefer the original. We did a review on the new one. When's the new one coming out? Isn't season 2 supposed to come out soon? It's been a year.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. Are we going to get another Leela type companion? She really liked killing. I hope so. She was God, that would be great to get a companion who like dresses like a barbarian. I don't think we're gonna get that though. I don't. No. I like my Leela action figures though. Penn Farm Girl, thank you for being here.
Always.
Thank you for being here. STD Klingons look like hairy butts. And they might have two. I
love the explanation for the hair. Why the hair came back. That was just brilliant. Because they're at peace now, so they can grow their hair.
Yep.
I was like, wow, that's an interesting reason right there. They can grow their hair because they're at peace.
So, okay, I got to ask a question about Torres right now. I want to know right now. Okay, so I need like Uber Trekkies and Uber Trekkers, and I know there's some in here. Okay. Torres is half human. Okay. B'Elanna Torres, half human. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. How does that happen with two Johnsons? Well, the Klingons have 2 Johnsons. So the question I had before was, does it act like 2-part epoxy? If you guys don't know what 2-part epoxy is, it's kind of an automotive thing. There's 2 tubes, and you have to put the epoxy out, and you have to mix it. All right, and it makes, it's it's kind of like a JB Weld. So it's like a glue, but it's not glue. Is that how their Johnsons work? Like maybe it's 2 things have to make the Klingon stuff. I don't want to get into details here, but it's too late now. So how does that work on a human? How does a human and a Klingon mate? How does that happen? Inquiring minds want to know.
Maybe they'll have to think about that for a bit.
Yeah, well,
we ask the deep questions here.
Hashtag Spock too. I don't know why that makes me laugh, but it does. Thank you, Stephen Walton. Yeah. Stars. Coffee's Hunter. Stars Spartacus is one of the best TV series I've ever seen. I 100% agree with you. And that was Sam Raimi's production company. Unfortunately, the star of the first, believe me, like if that show was running now, we would be covering it. It would be one of our top tier shows. I love the whole series. Season 1 was excellent. I forgot the actor's name who died of Hodgkin's disease.
Yeah.
Which sucked. Totally. I mean, just he was going to be a star. He was going to be a huge star. He was so good.
Wasn't his name Andy?
I think so. I'm terrible for forgetting his name. That reminds me, I need that on Blu-ray. I don't have that on Blu-ray. I need to make that happen. Thoughts on Deadly Class, JPRPH1. I like the first episode. It's going to be uber political. It's going to be uber anti-Reagan, but that's kind of what the whole, it's based a little bit on the punk rock movement in the 80s.
Yeah.
So, which was pretty anti-Reagan at the time. So it's going to get, if you can get past that stuff, which I mostly can because it's in context of the show. I like the first episode. But it's also silly. It's silly in like the Kingsman type of way. So far it's by the Russo brothers. It's the quality was very good on it. So we'll see. We will see.
The very first actor that died was Andy Whitfield.
Andy Whitfield, yeah. Rest in peace. Sorry, I forgot your name. I'm terrible for doing that. We have a couple super chats. Oh, Peter Davison, quality, not quantity. Damn straight. I can't say that's something I adhere to here, but I try. But Peter Davison, and my best to Mrs. Davison, your mom, by the way. Thank you for the Australian $10. That's brilliant. Gary Bell, great name, but you spell it wrong. You got to drop that R, buddy. STD I'm just kidding. STD presents young autistic Spock, one meltdown away from wiping out the Vulcan Science Academy, delivered by Bad Reboot Productions. Exactly. God. If they, I wouldn't put them past them to actually do that.
Wish they'd quit messing with that stuff. I know it's impossible now, but
I was talking to Doomcock this morning. We were recording an additional Exozone that you can check out on his channel, and we were discussing that a little bit prior to recording. And it does seem like they are deliberately effing with our characters at this point. I mean, okay. So you bring back Spock. You just have a Spock adventure. Have some of that dumb sibling rivalry thing or whatever, and just leave it at that and have them go on an adventure. No, we have to get into Spock's past. We have to dig in the weeds and fundamentally change the character. Well, this is why all this is happening, because Kurtzman said, and I quote, "When you're doing Trek and trying to keep track of the points that are meaningful and significant to people, some things are going to fall through the cracks. I suppose we should have explained it earlier. Our job is to make sure that every time you see a new Star Trek show, it feels like a very different prospect from any other Trek show that exists." That tells you everything you need to know right there. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, number one, yeah, well, we know that you guys aren't really happy with the show and stuff fell off, fell through the cracks. But yeah, well, our bad. We should have explained that earlier, but we're just going to keep on keeping on, like Joe Dirt says. And then, we know our job, what we need to do, and we're going to make a new Star Trek. And if you're not in on it, don't watch our show. That's pretty much my takeaway from that whole 2 paragraphs.
Yep. Mine too. And I'm trying to pull up here, stretch a little bit. Why don't you find...
Sure. Yes, D-Force 10. That is why we can't have nice things, which is unfortunate. We also got, well, thank you very much for the $5 chat, chats, ST fanboy. Off topic. So do you think we will see more of Talea in the Orville bridge piece between the Union and Krill? We were talking about that last night, and we do think she'll probably be a reoccurring character. Bridging piece, that remains to be seen, but a lot of people in the chat were speculating a possible little Mercer Krill baby. I don't know if that'll happen, but yeah, I think they're setting her up to be somebody that's going to come back into the universe. And Angel Feliciano says, you think they'll do a Spock spinoff at some point? Oh, Christ, I hope not. But, anything's possible with them. Although they're telling us that, they're not pushing all of these series on us at one time. Well, you're coming out with them. Like we had the short treks, and we know Picard's coming. Granted, Michelle Yeoh's series is in development. But, Gary and I were talking, and the guy that was on Reddit that gave that theory of a possible spinoff with Pike and Spock and Kirk coming in later.
Yep.
This sounds like it's not that crazy because, as Gary so astutely pointed out, Anson Mount is becoming the focus of Star Trek. Now, we can't get away from, Mikey Spock, but he's becoming more of a central figure. So I'm wondering about spinoffs if that might be the case. Maybe that'll be a better spinoff.
I'm surprised they haven't announced that sooner.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, it's despite what anybody thinks, that would automatically well, the thing is they're trapped in a little bit of a corner by putting so much of a focus on Michael Burnham, which they did not dial back at all. They doubled and tripled down on that.
Yes.
And they're sealing their own fate with that. And that is the problem when you come out with this whole first black female anything. You play identity politics, and then you can't do anything on merit. You can't just pull the plug on this if it doesn't succeed, because then you're going to be called, well, you just name it. You're going to get called it. And you can't conduct business like that. And that's why you don't treat people like that. You treat everybody as an equal. That's all anybody's ever asking. That's one of the theses of my next video is going to be this whole right-wing bullshit. Okay. And I'm just going to point out, and the reason my RT video has taken so long is I have gone through every single page of the audience views. I went through 6,400 reviews.
Oh my God.
To look for one person to say specifically, I want this type of politics in the show. And honestly, out of 6,400 some reviews, I found a couple that might have alluded to it, but did not say it outright.
You know
and
what?
I mean, couple as in two.
You know what they need to do? If we must have agendas, okay? If we have to have them, then I suggest that the writers go and revisit the original series. And I will tell them to revisit the episode with Frank Gorshin. and I forget the title of it, where they were two races on the same planet. One person had black on the left side of their face, the other had it on white on the right, and then it was the opposite for the other race, and they hated each other. But the message was very clear behind it. But you were so involved with these characters that you accepted the message because the characters weren't hitting you over the head. The story was there, but it wasn't the message that the story was crafted around. They need to revisit the original series, get the freaking idea that Roddenberry first had, that blueprint, and then start to write your little agendas or whatever you want to do. And don't make it so ham-fisted, because we can't get away from that. I mean, Serling did it with the Twilight Zone, but once again, the monsters are due on Maple Street. Classic example. It said a lot of things that were happening in the 60s. It was pretty blatant. But we were like, damn it, who are these aliens? Who is it? Could it be this neighbor? We were engrossed in the characters. With STD, we're not engrossed in these characters because they make us crazy. Jesus. Yep. Let that be your last battlefield. Thank you, Fickle.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you get some horrible like blackface there in that small picture, but we're trying to show the "Let That Be Your Last Battlefield," which is a classic episode with the great Frank Gorshin.
Yep.
From the Riddler, who is the definitive Riddler for me, the Batman 66 series, which is was wonderful. Yeah. It's everything about it. Wonderful.
KSS Maple Street did have Sheriff Lobo. Claude Akins was the lead in that. We really need that. They need to just go and revisit the original series, and then maybe they'll have an aha moment, but they're too arrogant to do that.
Yeah. But what happens is you alienate. Oh my God. Okay. When you pick somebody not for merit, and listen, maybe there is somebody who has a problem with a black female lead for Star Trek. I can't see them being a Star Trek fan, like a real Star Trek fan. And I don't think anybody has a problem with that. It's just how it's presented. And like we've said again and again, the fact is there's some out there who feel that we can't criticize her because of that. And that is wrong, and hell no. And that wouldn't be treating her fair either. You know what? I'm not going to treat her like a kindergartner. Okay. She's an adult who gets paid a lot of money, and she's not a compelling character. Her writing isn't good. I'm not sure her acting could do well with good writing, but the big what if is, what if Brian Fuller stayed? Well, if Brian Fuller stayed, there wouldn't have been as many canon violations. I can say that right now, with confidence. But a lot of the stuff that was set here is from Brian Fuller. Not plot stuff, but the cast and everything. As far as aesthetic, I don't know how far that goes, but I know part of the reason he left was CBS's cavalier approach to canon. Like he wanted to adhere to canon, and they didn't. So it's clear that they just found their yes men, and that's clearly what Kurtzman is. He's just a company guy. He's a company guy, and there's a way to be a company guy.
Yeah.
And still be a Star Trek guy. And
I mean, if they had somebody that had a backbone in there and said, like Roddenberry would push back on NBC, if they had somebody like that in there, this might be an entirely different show. Yep. Entirely different.
Okay, here we go. Our next Star Trek article. Then we got a lot of chat to catch up on, and I think we got a couple super chats. I'll get right to those. Okay, thank you so much. CBS All Access programming head wants to get timing right for Star Trek's TV expansion. On the surface, that sounds like nothing, right? You know what screamed to me in this article, Susan? The minute I read the headline, they're trying to temper expectation.
Yes.
This whole article is to temper expectation, because they have now, again, you want to talk about, these guys are the kings at painting themselves in corners. They have announced Section 31, the Picard series, Lower Decks, 2 other possible series. So we're going to say they've announced 3. They've talked about 5. Star Trek Discovery is not getting the clicks. It's not getting the views. Yeah. So what they're trying to do is, oh, well, we've announced all this stuff, but we don't want to oversaturate the market. So we got to time it right. So yeah, don't expect all of this stuff right away. And they're not going to come out and say this, but don't expect all of it to happen. So the past few months have been a flurry of activity with reports of official announcements of a number of Star Trek shows in development for CBS All Access. A new interview puts all of this into some perspective, showing how CBS is playing the long game with Trek. Speaking to The Wrap, CBS All Access Executive Vice President of Original Content, Julie McNamara, pointed out that they are not planning on rushing a lot of the Trek out all at once, saying there's no benefit in pushing out into the marketplace tons of Star Trek content. That's not our intention. We're looking to mine it wisely and effectively. This contradicts completely what they said. What they said last time, which was we want to have Star Trek year-round. When we did videos on this. The thing is, it must really suck for them that they have YouTubers and of course people from 1428. We watch this stuff every day like a hawk. And honestly, I don't catch everything thanks to Twitter. Thank you. So they forget what they said a few months ago, or they can't keep track of what somebody else said a few months ago. Yeah. Echoing comments made by Kurtzman, the producer in charge of expanding Star Trek on TV for CBS, McNamara, talking about the goal of offering variety within Star Trek shows and the spacing them out. Now, in that year-round Trek thing, they talked about like not having 2 shows going on at once. That makes sense. In an ideal world, Trek fans would be interested in great Trek shows that could be a variety of talent and subject matter. They have to have the right timing and the right feel.
Well, yeah, the right feel. I like Michelle Yeoh as an actress, but is that the right feel for a spinoff show?
She's awful in that role.
Yeah, I mean, why would
she's brilliant, but she's awful in that role.
Yeah.
So, you know, what they basically say is that they're putting these things together and they're going to space them out. But I don't think it's going to be all Trek all the time. DC Universe is currently doing something like this. So they put out the Titans and they got the Young Justice, then the Doom Patrol. So each, like when one series ends, they're going to start another one. And this is going to be a good proving ground to see if this stuff is successful. I am currently looking into DC Universe numbers, but they're not spectacular. They're not spectacular. No. I think they're doing better in CBS All Access, though.
I'm going to give it time till when the Swamp Thing comes out and see what happens.
Well, they need to put more money into their shows. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Putting all this together, it seems reasonable to conjecture that the Section 31 would premiere sometime after the Picard show, and the 3rd season of Discovery.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I threw up a little bit in my mouth. Hang on.
Well, you know what was interesting though? I know. Take deep breaths.
I'm gonna drink some Pete's.
What was interesting about that was, in the same breath, they sort of intimated that Michelle Yeoh's series would take over after Discovery ends. So they said something about 2021. Yes. I'm like, wait a minute, is Discovery going to end? Is this going to be, you know, are we going to wake up like Bobby Ewing and it was all a dream?
Yeoh is expected to return to Discovery for the 3rd season. Let me highlight this because I'm going back. Yeoh is expected to return to Discovery for a 3rd season today. I reported a Variety, which I just read, described a 3rd season renewal. Today, a report in Variety described a 3rd season renewal of Discovery, which has not been officially announced.
Right.
As a fait accompli, with Alex Kurtzman expected to return as showrunner, telling Variety, "I feel such a debt to the cast and crew of the show. I don't feel like I can leave it." Was there an announcement today?
I looked into that, and that Kurtzman, he doesn't feel like he can leave it. Sounds like, he's like a control freak.
Hang on. I'm getting a little sick feeling in my stomach.
Oh, I hope it was. I haven't heard anything, but
Oh, this is okay. That's back to our old article, which it says talk about season 3, and it doesn't say anything about season 3. We read that, and it doesn't say anything about season 3 other than it. I mean, it could happen.
It could.
Yes, it could, but it's not going to. So there you go. So read between the lines on that article. It is, everybody calm down now. I know we've got you all excited by announcing all these series, but everybody calm down. Let's get to the chat, Susan.
Yeah, sure.
We got some serious chat to get to here. No more articles until we're caught up. Could you read a couple? And I got to get the super chats up. Thanks.
Sure. Captain Robert April says, sounds like they're slowly backing away from all these proposals Kurtzman has been spouting off about. So when they don't happen, they're covered. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that whole article that Gary just went through was basically them telling, the fans to just chillax and deal with the direction that they're going in, and that we're going to attempt to put out these series, and we're going to make it look like it's quality. So, yeah, I totally agree there. There's just so... Angel Feliciano, maybe they'll finally do a show about Wesley Crusher. Oh, good Lord, please, no, and no. If he shows up on the new Picard, just stop already. But that's very funny.
Shut up, Wesley. Written by Akiva Goldsman and produced by Alex Kurtzman. By Bad Reboot. Yes.
Oh, Lord.
That sounds wonderful.
Please ring that. Please.
It's a sitcom.
Yeah.
Sitcom. And because Wesley's a white male, he's just a complete loser. Because nobody's ever, you know what they've never covered in Star Trek? A slouchy loser who lives off of the Federation version of welfare. And he lives in an apartment building. And it's just him and his roommates getting into wacky situations for 27 minutes a week.
Wait a minute. That could be an upcoming spinoff.
It could.
It could be. You never know.
Yeah. Shut up, Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley. The new Will Wheaton sitcom.
The Seinfeld of Star Trek. No. I would rather push the goddamn button at that point. TM.
Starfleet Academy High, Dr. Meatball says. Oh my God. It's like a combination of Starfleet and Degrassi. Please no.
Oh God, no.
Star Trek The Young Ones, Captain Robert April. Oh.
I've actually had dinner with Wesley.
Oh, he's a nice guy. I've heard that Will is a nice guy.
Is that true? Yeah, he's all right. It was listen, when you're sitting at a table and you're the comic shop owner, and then there's comic artist, comic writer, actor. It was me being quiet the whole time. Me, Mr. Yeah, I could talk, but I just kind of sat there and let it happen.
Couldn't get a word in
edgewise, and I'm like, I've got nothing to bring to this.
Discussion here. Thanks.
Although I really wanted to say "Shut up, Wesley" once, but I decided not to. It was a weak moment. I failed you guys completely. I mean, he was back a long time ago, but yes. Do the Klingons removed? Okay, so yeah. Oh my God. Okay, yeah.
Harry Mudd would be a better spin-off character.
Listen. You mean the murderous Harry Mudd who committed regicide, killed 20 people?
Wow, they really changed his character from a lovable charlatan in the original series to that.
I have a question. If you're in a time loop and you kill somebody over and over again, you're still committing murder. It's still murder, even though because technically, if you're in the time loop, you're killing. It's not like they're coming back to life. If you use the string theory, you're killing all those versions of that person, and there's just a new timeline coming up that you actually killed them. So that's murder, multiple murder. So what's the name of murdering? See, because this has to happen in something like Doctor Who or Star Trek. If you killed the same person twice, there's got to be a side for that one. Multicide.
A paradox of some sort.
Paradoxicide.
Paradoxicide. Wow.
Paradoxicide. There you go. Nerds, work on that, please. Get back to me in the morning. 8 o'clock. Just kidding. The big
erotic writer's room.
Yeah, the writer's room. Yeah.
Yes.
You guys should look at my notes someday. I shouldn't be judging writers at all.
Coyote says if he was more like the original version and not the homicidal maniac they made for the new show, good God, please no. If they wanted to make a Harry Mudd spinoff. Actually, Gary, if they did do Harry Mudd, but the real Harry Mudd, not the dark version, that
Cecil.
would be an interesting sitcom.
He has to be played by Cecil. Okay, yeah. Cecil's a YouTuber out there who I don't know what he looks like, but I just imagine kind of a Dom DeLuise. Sorry, Cecil. I doubt Cecil even knows who I am, but I'm a subscriber to Cecil, and he's actually pretty freaking funny. Cecil should play Harry Mudd. Am I right on that one, chat? Come on, the guys who know Cecil, he is straight up Harry Mudd. The Big Red Bear, $5 Canadian. Wow. Do the Klingons also remove 2 of their 4 nostrils before they are at peace? What a joke. Big Red Bear, this whole thing is a goddamn joke. And what sucked is, and I was talking to Doomcock about this, and you, Susan, I was like, people are going to like this episode. People are going to love this episode because Anson Mount did a okay job given what he was given, and like I like Anson Mount. I do. I like him. Hell on Wheels was a great show.
Yeah.
But it's like every time then they had to do the Spock stuff, and that just ripped me right out of it. Like there's no it's not like I got close to enjoying it. I'm just saying it was probably the more cohesive episode of the series. That's not saying much.
Yeah.
It still didn't make much sense. What was the whole fracking point? So they basically got and they followed a little bit the plot of Star Trek 2009. They found their engineer stranded. I mean, they're copying their own material here, which isn't good in the first place.
They're out of ideas. If we're already going to that type of well, what the hell? I guess you're out of ideas in the writer's room.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Big Red Bear, for the Canadian $5. ST Fanboy, $5 off topic, which is fine. This show is 4 off topic. So do you think we'll see more? Oh, did you get this one already? Talayla on the Orville? I'm sorry if you did.
Yeah. I did.
I'm going to answer it again. Absolutely. Yes, she will be back. I don't think she'll be preggers, but that's what spawned the whole 2 penis conversation with Troy. Justin Poor, $5. Did you read this one? Have you guys watched Star Trek Continues fan series?
No.
Great tribute to the original series. Scripts are true Trek. They could get a Vic Mignogna. I can't pronounce his last name. Mignogia. MGNOGNA. Mignogia. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I'll just say Vic. To write Disco. Yes, I've seen Star Trek Continues. It's great. I love it. For a fan series, it's a lot of fun. It's very cool. And yes, if Vic went and wrote for Star Trek, it would immediately be better. And guess what? The fans would flock to it. Strawberry Hellcat, $5. Late getting here. What did you think of Axonar's live stream tonight? I didn't see it. I'm going to go watch it afterwards. Strawberry Hellcat. I'm going to definitely, that is my stream tonight that I'm going to watch. I'll give you my thoughts on Monday. Thank you for the $5. Formerly Rodline, $1.99. I'll only watch it if Wesley is recast as a woman. No, he has to have a sex change. You got to have Will Wheaton have a legit sex change. And yeah, Wesley can be a unisex name. It really could.
Oh God.
It really, really could. So there was something I wanted to get to with one of the chats, and
Juan Soros says the name is pronounced Minoya.
Minoya, thank you. Like
Dr. Minoya, what would comprise an original idea today? Villain's journey, fall from grace. I'm struggling here because I agree we've run out of ideas. What would be fresh?
I think it would be fresh to just go back to basics. They're trying so hard to get dark, and you know what? You know what works every time? Talent and talent and thrilling. Thrilling is something we've completely lost.
Nothing is truly original. Let's face it. We're all copying from the Greeks and from Shakespeare. So nothing is truly original, but it's original in the way that you spin it.
Yeah.
And there's ways to take old stories and make them fresh.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is the most basic of stories. You mix some genres. You have one of the talented people in their prime. The problem with Hollywood and BBC is the talent pool is just completely watered down, and then they're watering it down more by not picking the most talented people. Now I can get in the weeds. We can do this on another podcast another day. We can get into the weeds on why they feel there isn't representation in this talent pool, because there is that's a multi-layered answer that cannot be answered easily or quickly. Some of it is most of it is Hollywood is a very incestuous place.
And it's high school.
And it's freaking high school. And that's got everything. Yeah, there's cliques and everything. And I used to believe when I was naive and young that the truly talented people the cream did rise to the top. Like everybody who was talented actually did make it. And now that I've seen YouTube and I've seen people just absolutely blow up who are in their basements, Jeremy at the quartering, a 250,000 subs more.
Yeah.
He would have never got discovered and brought to Hollywood as a talk show host. But I mean, like the dude is a great talker. He's a great talker. He's a great talker. He would have never got discovered. So I don't believe that anymore. They've kept a lot of talent out. All the unions, you know what unions are? They're gatekeeping. That's what I mean. They aren't protecting. Yeah. They're protecting jobs by keeping people away and also protecting the people who are in their group. If you're for a union, that's fine, but that's what they are. They're there to protect jobs both ways, to protect them from management and protect the people from being replaced. And now it's a free-for-all because of YouTube and stuff like that. Now there's still gatekeepers, don't get me wrong, there's just different gatekeepers, but right now we can have platforms whenever we want. And
you're bringing up very salient points here about YouTube and stuff, because I see talent on a daily basis on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. And Hollywood is lazy. They're lazy. They need to have, like, for example, a Fortune 500 company, they have social media departments where the whole being behind these departments is to mine social media to see when and where the company is being talked about, and what's being said. Hollywood needs to start doing that in these agencies and in studios. Yeah, I know they have the departments, but they need to really start looking for talent. And they need to get off their collective asses and start looking at YouTube and start trying to find these voices. Because as long as we're like the NFL that keeps on recycling coaches, and I hate to use a sports analogy, but as long as we're recycling every damn person, we're never going to get anything new. And we're just going to get this plethora of dreck with these social messages all the time.
Yep. Oh, hang on a second. I just lost the chat. Read another chat. My chat just went blank for some reason.
It says, set a Trek series on a colony planet. We always see crews. Wow. We always see crews visiting colonies to drop off supplies and medicine and to avert disasters. But let's see it from the colonist perspective.
Yeah,
That
mix
would
things
be an
up.
interesting take.
Somebody asked me last night, with a super chat, like, what would I do with the Star Trek series? I would have a brand new, no Enterprise. I would, and you can really listen, there was other ships on 5-year missions. So you could pick any era. I would not go prequel. I would go forward, but I've rethought that a little bit. And I would, if you want to go, follow Riker. Get Jonathan Frakes to, I'm sorry, go to the gym a little working out, just a little bit. It's easy to do. I mean, and hey, listen, I did it. Okay. I did it. And,
body shaming Jonathan Frakes.
I did a little bit. Not much. He doesn't need to be skinny or anything. He just needs to get into acting shape, which I'm sure he can do in like a month or something like that. And he follow Captain Riker around, get a whole new crew. What I think, what's happening here, I was going to put this in the title, but what's going on with Ghostbusters 3 is fascinating. All right. The Ghostbusters 3 thing is, I think it's, we don't want to get too, you want to talk about temper the expectations with this.
Everybody is already up in arms about this.
Well, it's not, I don't think it's going to be the course correction people think it's going to be, but I think their intention is to use the Cobra Kai template. And what Hollywood uses is templates. Follow me down the weeds here, folks. Okay. So I'm a lifelong nerd music comic book fan. I've been working in and around entertainment, mostly in retail. Okay. Mind you, I did work in Hollywood, but mostly in retail pretty much all my life. So, and I owned a retail store. So one of my, as an owner, one of the things that I learned from Mrs. Nerdrotic, I used a salon technique, and there's a salon technique called trend scouting. So hairdressers, trend scouting is literally, you go out in the world, you go travel, and you observe people, you observe things, you observe your industry, you take notes, you find out what's going out, you look for patterns. And you have to be the kind of person who could see patterns. Not everybody cares enough. It takes a ton of time, and you have to have a good sense of what's cool and what's not, and not, Mrs. Neurotic is like way ahead. She's always like about a decade ahead of most people. So that's why she's a star in her industry. I applied the same thing to the comic shop. So, and I used to do this for fun as a kid. And what happened, what Doctor Who went through, what Star Trek is going through, what Marvel's about to make the mistake going through, is we are on the tail end of a trend. I mean, I'm telling people, some of you know this already. Wonder Woman was a success. Okay, Wonder Woman was a success after the Hunger Games was a success, after Twilight was a success. So they saw those 3 successes in a row. I mean, first it was Twilight, then then it was Hunger Games, then it was Wonder Woman. They saw female lead is putting butts in seats. This is something we haven't tapped in on. And honestly, this is something I pointed out when I was working at the warehouse and the Titanic came out. And I had a very crude term that I probably I'm not going to repeat the term I used to describe this. If Doug is out here, he remembers what the term was. But Titanic was really the first movie since in a long time, since the 50s and the 60s, to recognize that you need to market stuff towards females sometimes, because it really does freaking work. And the thing was, Titanic worked because men and women were both going to see that equally. And that's why it just went crazy. It made more money in the next year than, so remember, it came out in November, and then there was no competition after Christmas, and it just rolled until April. That was a female audience that had been largely ignored, or the only marketing was, sitcoms and stuff. Not sitcoms, rom-coms. So later on, we go to Twilight and stuff, and then all of a sudden they perk their ears up and they go, oh, and remember, we just told you that Hollywood doesn't look into shit at all. They're just surface. So a bunch of people went, oh, wow, Wonder Woman did well, and this is on those 2 movies. We need to start having female leads now. So it takes 2 to 3 years to produce everything. So we're 2 to 3 years since Wonder Woman, and we're seeing the results of that template working. Hollywood just is a bunch of copycats. So Cobra Kai, new template. It's pretty much, and you know what? Cobra Kai wasn't the first one to do this, and you know this, Susan. But the Ash versus Evil Dead was actually the first one that I noticed to use this template perfectly. You take your old character who's beloved, you treat him with respect, you add new characters that aren't Mary Sue's or anything, and they added a female character and a POC. God, I hate that. But what they did was they found 2 talented people. They weren't really looking for that first. They were looking for, we needed just talented people with a comedy background. Ash versus Evil Dead season 1 is perfection to me. It's absolute perfection. It's just as good as the movies, kind of better in some sense. It's that good. Cobra Kai is that fucking good. As a matter of fact, I mean, compared to Karate Kid and Karate Kid 2, I would say it's just as good,
right?
If not better. The kids that they brought in were really effing good actors, really good actors. I'm forgetting the kid's name, but the main one, like, you love the guy. I mean, he's charming, and and it's a true talent merit hire. So they're starting to use that template now. Ghostbusters might be the first major franchise to use the Cobra Kai. I mean, you could just call it, I would rather call it the Ash versus Evil Dead template, but we'll call it the Cobra Kai template.
Well, what's interesting is what you're pointing out here is apparently Jason Reitman, the whole plot is hush hush, as is the cast. People are speculating because remember, about a month ago, Dan Aykroyd came out talking about Ghostbusters 3. Then all of a sudden now we're hearing about a Ghostbusters 3. People are trying to make the correlation, but what's interesting is Jason talked to his dad, Ivan, and they were talking about what's going to happen with the film, and apparently Ivan Reitman got verklempt and got very teary-eyed.
One of his son. Oh my God, I would be bawling if my son came to me and took the franchise that I made and made something good and carried it on. I would be on the floor. I'm so proud of you. Like, come on, it's his boy, you know, and he's good. He's done okay. I mean, like, some of his movies are kind of, you know, I like Juno. I don't know if he could do a big budget thing, but it's possible. But here's the rub on this one, though. These guys are old. They're too old. So you're not going to get what you want. You're not going to get Aykroyd and Bill Murray, and of course, you know, rest in peace, Harold Ramis. But if they give us something with respect, Ghostbusters fans would believe me. They would love it. They would flock to it.
You know, Bill Murray,
shitloads of money.
Bill Murray is busy with Zombieland 2, and now it's been announced that he's going to work with Sofia Coppola again. So that would tell me that he may not be in a Ghostbusters 3. And I agree with what you're saying. They're too old. One of my writers, Luke Lucas, wrote a brilliant piece from the trailer on what the new Ghostbusters can be. And he feels that somehow or other, Egon is going to be a part of it as kind of like an homage. But he feels like something could be in the works with Egon's in trouble or was in trouble. Here's
the deal. I think that I heard some other people saying that too, and probably Luke came up with it first, and props on him. With no Bill Murray, this doesn't work. It flat out doesn't work. It'll do okay without him, but if you want it to be a true success, a true passing of the torch, they need to do what they need, and not Han Solo, The Force Awakens, where they kill him stupidly. They have him retire. Don't kill him. Even if you don't ever bring him back, it'll stick in people's heads. You need Bill Murray to come back, and Bill Murray. Now, I'm sure Bill's watching the show right now.
Yeah.
Stop being a dick. Stop being like, he's a curmudgeon. Yeah, I mean, he's famously a curmudgeon. He's been one like forever, which is, super disappointing to hear, because I thought he was the cool one and Chevy Chase was the dick, but it turns out they kind of both were.
Well, Bill's a manic depressive, and that's a lot of his issues.
Well, there's manic depressive, and it doesn't excuse you from being a jerk. Sorry, especially if you're diagnosed and you have the resources he has to get the help that you can, because it's a very treatable thing. I actually deal with it quite a bit in recovery with people in recovery, and it's something you can absolutely live your life with. And there's ways to it. It's a lot of work. It's a ton of work, but it's possible. I'm not trying to dismiss it. It's a very serious thing that needs to be taken seriously. But and once it's hard getting people in the door because of the nature of it. But once you get in the door, there's a better life out there. Trust me. And yeah, sometimes you need to get. I'm not really great. I don't like medicating anything, to be honest with you, but sometimes medication does help. So, will the aliens let Dan Aykroyd star in Ghostbusters? Sure. I mean, they could still, probe him in the trailer, Mako. And nepotism, that was actually the word I was looking for earlier. Not incestuous, nepotism. Even though yeah, you're right, Mako. That's what Hollywood's all about. But in this case, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with Ivan Reitman's kid. I'm sure that's
and has a good idea. He's like, why can't the Ghostbusters pass the torch to their grandkids? And somebody came up with that idea on social media that maybe it's going to be a passing of the torch where the original cast will show up and then they'll just hand it off.
Yeah, so kind of a Cobra Kai, except that you move on with the new characters without the old characters.
Yeah.
I think that would work. I think, and then the thing is, then your challenge is you have to bring in the new characters that they need to be charming and they need to be good. So you need to really sit down and yes, 2 women and 2 men.
Can I toss somebody out
2
there?
Men.
Can we toss out Bill Hader's name?
Bill Hader's. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Bill Hader's? I'm kind of ambivalent towards him.
The reason why I say him is because I think he is, pretty talented. He is from the Saturday Night Live family, I guess you could call it. And I kind of think he might be an interesting choice for at least one of the roles. But that's just me. That's just what I'm thinking.
I'm blanking on his name now. The dude who was in The Hangover, the dentist. Why am I blanking on his name?
Oh,
Ed Helms.
Ed Helms. Yeah, Ed Helms.
Ed Helms is Bill Hader. I like. But you can't have. The thing is, you can't have 2 white guys. that's what they're. It's not going to happen, because I would say Bill Hader and Ed Helms, I think, would be interesting, and then you find 2 women, which they totally could have done. They could have done that the first time. Well.
But if we're staying true, if we're doing a Cobra Kai thing, we would pretty much, let's have what we had. I mean, we had Ernie Hudson, and we had, Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray. Just recreate that with new people.
Yeah. Yeah. So Emma Stone would fit in a movie. Emma Stone
could be the new Sigourney Weaver character.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna have 2 female Ghostbusters. Bet your bottom dollar, and it'll probably be a female lead. Like, they'll all be co-leads, but the leader, the Venkman, will be a female. I promise you.
But then we're just redoing Paul Feig's thing.
No, you got 2 guys in that. So I'm just saying, prepare yourselves for that. I'm not saying for the best people for the job, it would be what I prefer. I don't really care what they look like, just 4 best people for the job. Like, truly best, not hot, not the hottest person out there. When Ghostbusters first rolled around, we were both alive. Yeah. I was totally interested in seeing it. The concept was cool, but we thought it would be just like a gaggy, funny comedy that would be a hit, but not the hit. I did not think it would. It went through the stratosphere. It beat an Indiana Jones film, for Christ's sake. Came out the same year as Temple of Doom, and it was a higher grossing film.
Yeah, it was. And you know, we have to remember at that time, well, Bill Murray was still fairly hot, but he wasn't Bill Murray. Dan Aykroyd was kind of, his box office wasn't doing well. I mean, I personally enjoy the hell out of Dr. Detroit. It's not the best movie, but
I love that movie.
Yeah, Dr. Detroit, he was coming off of that. That didn't do very well. You know, Ernie Hudson was in it, and Harold Ramis was a writer and also a director. So, you know, you go from there. No, Bill Murray was never hot, Susan. Thanks, Mike Sider. But, you know, when they went into this movie, you were like, oh, the old Saturday Night Live guys. That's why I went, because I wanted to see the old crew. That was my biggest straw. And I loved Stripes with Harold and Bill. I love that movie. Still love it.
That's today. A classic, absolute classic that you cannot play again today. I mean, like classic movies are just gonna maybe more people will just go to the classics, because you can't like have weird nude shower scenes anymore, and you know it's like we can't joke about anything anymore.
No, John Larroquette's character, no, that would never happen.
That's a little creepy, but he was supposed to be creepy. He was a creep. Okay, so Mako, yes, Idris Elba has to be in Ghostbusters. Yes, and Scarlett Johansson. Yes.
Problem solved.
Problem solved. $5 from Agent Future. Hello, Gary and Susan. Did you see the hit piece that Forbes Scott Mendelson wrote on Jason Reitman's? Yes, I did. He basically blaming alt-right trolls for the Ghostbusters thing in not so certain terms. Yeah, I considered doing a video on it, but you know, we can go over that one on Monday. We're running short on time here. We're still going to go for a little while, but I've got to talk about the Punisher. I've got to talk about the Punisher real quick. That'll be quick, folks. And we got to catch up with some of this chat. Taldrin, have Winston's 2 kids, 1 girl, 2 boys, Oscar boy, and some walk-on like Winston was a girl done. Let's face it, Ray and Egon aren't going to have kids. No, they're not. You're absolutely right. Winston was the only potential family man in that group.
What about Venkman?
Venkman, if he had kids, he would be a bad father. He wouldn't be. So you could have one of Venkman's kids.
He'd be divorced, a divorced dad.
Yeah. No, but Angel Feliciano, I absolutely agree. Nobody from the current cast of Saturday Night Live should be in this movie. Nope. 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 Will they that will make either people go to cinemas or leave them early, said Silhouetted Animator. Says Mako. I didn't see what Silhouetted Animator. Nude shower scene with Melissa McCarthy in Ghostbusters 3.
Well,
Hollywood should just take a break and only show classic movies for a year. And I kind of like this idea, Matt Guy. A year without film. Just make everybody catch up, you know, like bring Gone with the Wind back, get your AFI 100 and rotate it through the theaters to
you know, that would be a great idea, because then maybe it would teach filmmakers how to craft stories again. It would be like a refresher course.
Yep. Idris Elba was the best part of JJ Trex 3. He was, to be honest with you. I just couldn't wait for that. What was that?
He's the catch-all for everything. We're having a problem. We can't cast Idris Elba.
Idris Elba.
Thank you.
There, you know, like there's a Saturday Night Live skit. Like every time somebody has a problem, they just call Idris Elba. Like if somebody has a plumbing problem, Idris Elba comes up and fixes the plumbing. Guy's fixing his car, Idris Elba helps him change his brakes. Yeah, it's fun. Tax question, Idris Elba comes, and he's not even from America, but he can fix American tax problems. Yeah. Brain surgery. He's up at Greenland, getting the ice out from the, you know, helping the scientists, you know, in Greenland. Yeah.
And helping the sharks that are up there, you know.
Yep. Delivers a baby, you know. He's got a script in the other hand. He's like, like practicing Hamlet, and he's delivering a baby. You know, Keanu Reeves is Venkman. Recast Ghost Brothers. Oh God, no. God,
That would
God,
be
no.
something.
Yes, I did watch Luther. I didn't watch the latest episode, Silhouetted Animator, but Luther is a damn fine show. It is a damn fine show.
You
I'm
know,
not from
that
the U.S. and I get U.S. taxes already better than most people.
Carrie Dalton has an interesting theory about the vitriol that was in that article, Jason Reitman. She's like, was some of this vitriol to poison the ground and make any actor think twice about signing on to the project? An implicit will run negative pieces about you if you agree to be in this. That's interesting.
Uh-huh.
You know, I don't know if a studio would go to the Godfather lengths of what that sounds like. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody did. It would not shock me.
Mako says something that makes me think of something. Only Eddie Murphy had the kind of acting range as Idris Elba. The Clumps was a masterpiece. Listen, I used to love Eddie Murphy as an actor. I'm a dork. So I used to have pretend movies in my head, and I would cast these pretend movies, and then I would draw one sheet posters. My friend Doug could verify this. I would like I'd make up tons of movies. And I went through a phase where Eddie Murphy starred in everything I did. I wrote a Twilight Zone episode. Eddie Murphy starred in it. And it was always a serious role because just 48 Hours stuck with me as like one of the coolest. I don't know. I was 12 when I saw it. It was just goddamn cool movie. You know what? Bring Eddie Murphy back as a Ghostbuster. Maybe get some older Saturday Night Live alum who are still, who are just from the next generation, but not current, get some older ones out, and I think it'd be kind of funny. I think it'd be kind of go to that route. But no, they're going to go young. They're going to go young so they can do a trilogy. The thing is, like, who are comedies in a bad space right now?
It is,
Susan. Who are you going to get? Who are you going to call?
Well, I can't even think of anybody right now that's super young that could step into the new Ghostbusters. I couldn't even imagine that, who we could even get, because then it's just going to be a plethora of who's the most beautiful on screen.
Yeah.
And not who's the most talented.
There would have been a time if you had like like the Will Ferrell era, but back then when he was on Saturday Night Live, that would have been a good time to pick new Ghostbusters. And you could have had, maybe I think that was the last time. The early aughts were like a great time for comedy. And it seems like the last time for, old school 40-year-old version. Yeah, you just get Steve Carell, Jack Black, Will Ferrell in their prime, right, to be Ghostbusters, and that problem solved. But
that would have been a hit.
Now. Yep, that would have been a monster hit. But
we could end up with Seth Rogen in it, and God,
I like him producing stuff. I don't want to see him in front of a camera anymore. Yeah. He was good in 40-Year-Old Virgin. For
God, that was great. I love that movie. Oh my God,
I adore that movie so much.
Yes, we couldn't make it today though.
I love at the end when he finally gets laid. And he's, this is the dawning of the age of. So great. Robot Rob, are you in? I thought I saw you in the chat. What's up, dude? How's it going? How's it going?
Yes, Eddie is making Coming to It. Well, it's an idea right now, Mike Brown. It's an idea. We don't know that it's exactly happening.
Maya Rudolph. Yeah, Maya Rudolph.
She'd be a great Annie Potts character.
Oh man, Annie Potts was so.
I think
she was in Corvette Summer, right? Was it with Mark Hamill? Wasn't it Annie Potts? I like that movie.
Corvette Summer with Mark Hamill.
Yeah, I thought it was a good movie.
Had his bad accident in his Corvette.
Yes. Yes, it was Annie Potts. Pretty sure that was Annie Potts with him. Yep, Annie Potts, Mark Hamill. It's actually a good movie. Mark Hamill was a little bit of a sex symbol back in the days, guys. He had that 70s look. He had that Leif Garrett kind of thing going on.
Garrett. Oh my God. Yeah, Mark had that perfectly feathered blonde hair that was really in back then. And yeah, he was a poster boy. I remember the Tiger Beats. He was in quite a few of them along with Leif and Scott Baio, and
I love
Majors was in them.
Yes, he was.
And
I preface this by I love Mark Hamill. Okay, I'm going to preface this with I love Mark Hamill.
But
okay, his voice work has seemed to have changed him a little bit, and he talks like he doesn't talk like he used to. He talks like his voice work has influenced his life, the way he talks to people now, and he kind of talks like an aging like an aging musical theater actor. I'm just gonna say that he is. I mean, it's just like
you're right. It's like he's become master thespian.
Chris Pratt was on DS9
what?
as a kid or something. You might be mixing him up with my friend Aaron. Aaron Bartell. You can look him up on IMDb. He's actually co-hosted this podcast back in the day. Was Janeway's kid in a picture. He was in Buffy, the swimming, where Xander was on the swim team that was had amphibious creatures eating the swim team and stuff. He was the hairy one. Yeah, he was a former child actor. What's up, Robot Rob? In GB, they talked about franchise on Ghostbusters. They talked about franchising the business. So they have Aykroyd, Murray, and Hudson hire a new crew, and they manage it.
That could happen.
Are they on board? Is Murray on board? That's the thing. I mean, Aykroyd is on board. Hudson's on board. Aykroyd has a script. I don't know if they're going to use it, but Mark Hamill would have been great in Barbarella.
Oh God.
Barbarella. That's another movie you couldn't make anymore.
No.
Yeah, I did. I was going to say I'd never. Yeah, Mako's all Chris Pratt was never on Star Trek. I'm like, yeah, was he a baby? I mean, like, Chris Pratt's like 30.
Richard Frost says Bryan Cranston was on Babylon 5.
I believe it. If you're bringing back OG cast, you have to bring in Annie Potts back. She is the best. I love Annie Potts.
Yeah.
By the way, before we go, I got to pull up this picture that, God, I can't remember who sent it now. I think it was, Putin's axe wielder sent us, talked about Spock being Damien Spock. So I whooped up because I'm okay with the Photoshop, and in 30 seconds I whooped this up.
Oh dear God. Oh my God.
I thought you got some of my blurring in the background because I had to get rid of the real Damien and put in Spock Damien. I think that's where we're at with current Star Trek Discovery Spock.
Oh,
he's adorable, isn't he? Yeah,
he is very adorable, but Jesus.
Guys, am I wrong on this? Every time you see a kid in Hollywood now, do you just kind of wonder? Do you wonder if his mom's still around, or his dad, and that kid is supervised, and like basically, is there security around that kid the whole time? Because I would never, ever, ever let my kid work in Hollywood, ever. I don't care how much money they offered me, ever. Not for if he was there, I would have to have eyes on him at all times.
Yeah,
just saying.
That's the unfortunate
just saying. Yes.
Richard Frost, Spamian.
Spamian. That sounds like.
That sounds like
Bryan Cranston was on a Star Trek. I think he was, wasn't he?
Who?
Bryan Cranston.
They said he was on Babylon 5.
Babylon 5. Okay, there you go.
You're making Sam Neill jealous. Sam Neill, he doesn't need to be jealous at all. He's the man.
Sam Neill's yeah.
He's a stud at 71 or 72.
That's a guy who just he got his starring roles, but I felt like he should have gotten more. He might have actually been a decent James Bond.
You know, they talked about that back in the day, I remember, but he didn't want it. He went on to do a British pseudo James Bond, and I've seen it, and it's escaping me. But he's always been drawn to quirky roles. He's always been drawn to the those roles that
Event Horizon.
Yeah, I love Event Horizon.
Oh my God, yes.
I love that. And Damien Omen 3 was bad, but him, Jesus. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Ace of Spies. Thank you, Red Rocket. Thank you. Yeah, it was kind of James Bond-esque.
Okay, so somebody asked me about the Punisher, and yes, we are going to get to the Orville ratings before we go. Let's talk about those Orville ratings first, and then we'll do Punisher, because that's something you have, Susan.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Orville ratings, and I'm going to pull them up now. Some people don't think that there's any cause for alarm, and I know that Penn Farm Girl, I know that Lana told me that they've received a tax credit, so a season 3 looks likely. And, I'm hoping that that's the case. But in looking at the season ratings and looking at what happened in season 1, of course, in season 1, when you had the premiere, it was a brand new show. People wanted to know what it was about. It had so they tuned in. So you had, in season 1 opening, it was 8 million people. Of course, it's not a new entity now. So when you get to, this year, you've got an opening of 5 million.
Yep.
So
I got
that's
it right
here. That's a huge drop. And it's, so much so that it's like 33%. Then, you're thinking, okay, it was a Sunday, it was after a game, great. So we go to our regular time slot and it's 3 million less. So now we're at 50% viewer change. On January 10th, we go up a bit. We're at 3 million. We're up just a little bit to 8% in the green. So we're doing well. And then last week, with an episode that everybody wanted to see, that by all accounts fans seemed to like, you had your humor, you had your action, you had the interpersonal relationships. Yeah, the viewers were down slightly. We're only down 1.67, but I don't call holding steady 0.74, 0.70 in the 18 to 49 demographic. Personally, I've seen this type of thing before, and I think the Orville could possibly be in trouble. Now, I know that they've got the tax break and that there's a very good chance that they could get a season 3, but we have to look at these numbers because the ratings do. Now, granted, the streaming isn't factored in, and Penn Farm Girl gave me an article where it shows that that's the bulk of their business. That's where they get their views. And Gary, we've discussed that.
Yeah, the 18 to 49 demo, I don't think even matters anymore.
Yeah. I'm hoping
when it comes to
that
Nielsen's,
the +3s and +5s can offset these ratings to the point, or these ratings basically to the point that a season 3 will be possible. But if you look at this season 1, they were holding, steady with each episode at 3 million. Sometimes they get 4. Yeah, we have a couple 3, but they keep going down. And that is a cause for concern. Now, granted, in season 1, we saw a lot of things in the red. We saw that, numbers dropped. But they did get a season 2 renewal because, good faith, Seth is their cash cow. I'm hoping that article that I read with the streaming service, with the streaming and everything, that it actually forces these numbers up. Because if not, the Orville could be in trouble.
Here's what we got to factor in. The consolidated numbers are huge for this show. So that's where the bulk of the 18 to 49 demo is. They don't, right. 18 to 49 doesn't watch TV overnight anymore. So they need to fix this soon.
Yeah.
Very soon, because you might access a TV show that you really don't want to. There's the Seth MacFarlane factor at Fox, which he had a lot of juice, but now Fox is owned by Disney. But I don't think Disney wants to do a first impression by canceling Seth MacFarlane's show, their cash cow. We've seen what happens when he gets turned down by something. So I think we get a season 3. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't know. We need to find a way right now to recount stuff, because I mean, nobody knows what's going on, but you can judge by interest, and there seems to be on the outside tons of interest in this show. Now, there's also some hate, and that comes from Star Trek Discovery fans, which just boggles my mind to no end. But I don't know. But you're right. You're right. It's like on the surface, it doesn't look good.
No. And it's like, I'm looking at these numbers and I'm like, okay, everybody loves the Orville. I see it on social media. Everybody loves the Orville. Like, I post pictures of like Seth, and I put, this is my captain, Ed Mercer. And it's true. For all intent and purposes, I've been a lifelong Trekker. I love Star Trek, but now the Orville is where my Trek is. And it's like, if you look at these numbers, it makes you think, well, where the hell are these fans? Now, granted, like you said, Gary, and I've saw this with Ash versus Evil Dead, they have to fix it, because not everybody is going to have their ass in the seat to watch it live. And I don't know why we're still dealing with live. It could be the commercials. I don't know. But it's like, we need to get away from that and focus on who's watching it with the +3s and the +5s. Instead, they lump it all together. And on the surface, this looks like, well, where are the fans? Where are they? Why aren't they coming out in droves for the show?
The thing is, you can't judge Twitter. Like, Twitter is like not the place to go. DC Comics found this out a long time ago. Like, Twitter is a 0.000000001% of your audience. Like, that's just a fact. It's a vocal few. The Orville's on a network, so there's a lot of normies watching it, and I don't know if it's the normies who are going to make or break this show. And I don't know. I think I think it's a good indicator that it appeals. Maybe it's not a show for a network. Maybe this show belongs on one of the cables, or actually one of the streaming services at this point. I really think this would fit really well on the same network as or the same streaming service as The Expanse. I think it would do very well at an Amazon or a Netflix. But that's where we're saying everything should go nowadays. Yeah. And stuff doesn't work there all the time.
Well, I'm currently working on a piece about the death of genre television. I mean, it's something I don't want to write, but it's something that's cyclical that I feel right now is happening. With everything that's being canceled, we saw, The Expanse and Lucifer got reprieves, but then you have Channel Zero's gone now. There's so much that has been taken off the air. Z Nation. It begs the question.
There's tons of superhero stuff. I think it's the death of genre on network TV. I would believe. Yes, I would say like those days are gone. Like, with the network TVs might not be around. Genre as the go-to thing for television. I don't know if genre should be the go-to thing. Genre is expensive. And you see what happens when you put too much money into something and it doesn't turn out well, and genre fans are fickle bunch. And I don't think Hollywood was prepared for that. I don't think they were prepared for that at all. I think there's a lot of people who were, in the media who weren't prepared for that, who didn't deal with nerds before. We're always like this.
What's interesting is I'm noticing the pattern is a lot of these shows were on Syfy. I love calling them Syfy. They were on Syfy or they were on Stars. And that's the pattern I'm seeing. And it's like, if I had a sci-fi show, I would not pitch to Syfy. I would not pitch to Stars. I would do my research and pitch to somebody that has platforms all over the place, distribution deals, because that's the only way genre can live is if people see it.
I mean, it'll live on Netflix and Amazon, and I know Jeff Bezos is a nerd, so I mean,
Yeah.
we'll at least have it there. We'll see. We're gonna have some fun times with TV. They're gonna be getting creative during the streaming wars, but when it's over, that's when the bloodbath begins, and it will be over quick. The streaming wars will not go for 5 years, folks. They'll go for 2 or 3.
Well, let's face it. Last season, it was like, who's getting canceled next? At Fox, it was a bloodbath. It was like, what the hell? This is canceled? What? Yeah.
We also have like about 5 times as many shows as we used to. Netflix last year, it was the year before last, they said, we're going to do 500 scripted originals, and they doubled it this year. So, real quick before we get to the Punisher, I was so late on this, and I don't like Loot Crate, but I finally got my Rocinante, man. I got my little Rocinante, so I'm going to hang it up. You guys don't see my ships up here. I have ships. Can you see them? Yeah, there's ships up there. So it's going among my ships. I'm very happy about this. I'm sorry, they probably just 3D printed it, but it comes in a little diorama. I just like totally found it on eBay. Yeah, I think Penn Farm Girl told me about that a year ago, and I forgot about it. Okay, so Punisher thoughts, folks. How are the Orville ratings compared to STD? That is a very good question. Thank you for reminding me, because I was always going to title tonight's podcast, "More People Are Watching the Orville Than Star Trek Discovery," but that's a long title. But that's a fact. So the numbers were put in by Tommelfinger earlier, and those weren't far from the truth. So Orville's in the millions, and Star Trek Discovery, I don't think it hit 1 million. I don't think it even got close. So more people are watching the Orville than Star Trek Discovery. And that's what happens when you put something on a paywall, and a double paywall at that. I mean, you still have to watch commercials at the lower rate. And you know what? It makes me feel dirty that I have to pay for CBS to watch this stuff. But I'll say it right here out loud. I share my CBS All Access with a lot of people. So there. All right. Punisher, folks. Punisher. I watched 1 episode. I watched it today prior to the show. And before I get into it, I'm watching a show that I know is going to get canceled. I know this is it. This is the last time I'm watching it. I know I'm not going to get any cameos, and it makes it less enjoyable. It makes it less enjoyable knowing that universe doesn't exist anymore. And there was something to that, the whole connectivity with the Netflix universe and the MCU. And I know this is loosely based in it, but Frank Castle is not somebody we're going to see on D20. On D+, sorry. He's not somebody we're going to see on the Disney streaming network. The Punisher is a very problematic character. I'm surprised Netflix could even get away with it in today's snowflake society, where we have such a toxic white male running around shooting people with guns. I haven't seen the whole series, but I predict this year you will see a lot less gunplay. Now, we see some, I could be wrong, but you'll see the Punisher fighting a lot with knives, with his fists, with stuff that's around him. I could be wrong on this. This is just a guess. I haven't read any reviews. I haven't seen any trailers, nothing. I'm going into this thing cold. That's the way I like to go into things, so I can come up with stuff of my own. I don't read reviews prior to coming on other people's reviews, so I don't get which sucks, because I like to support other YouTubers, but other YouTubers who are covering the same stuff than me, I don't watch the stuff that they're covering that's same as me until afterwards, so I don't accidentally, pine from their ideas or anything like that. I don't want to do that. Like Bulls Trek is like a great example of a guy who I fully freaking support 100% with his Doctor Who stuff, but I can't watch it because I don't want to copy him accidentally. It's just, yeah. So I watched The Punisher, and it was the first episode was great. It was absolutely great. It was freaking fantastic. It was right there with the same tone as season 1. We have the girl from The Man in the High Castle in it. I'm forgetting her name. She's brilliant. She's really good. She's really, really good, and she's good. There is a great bathroom fight in it. This is non-spoiler, by the way. I'm not going to tell you even what's going down. I'm just going to give you my thoughts. It felt like we picked off where we left off with season 1, which I thought was very good. I am still, I'm still not totally okay with the origin change. I'm still not okay with it, but I love Bernthal as the Punisher is great. He is freaking fantastic. I got to see where the series goes. I'm going to do a full series review on Sunday or Monday when I get finished burning through it. I'll let you guys know. So far, thumbs up, but it's tempered because it's going to end. And I don't think we're ever going to see Bernthal back as the Punisher. I think this is it. And it's kind of a bummer watching it. I don't know how you guys feel. I don't think a lot of people watch this. I think the numbers on this thing will be way down because of the cancellations that have happened already. And I think people really like the connectivity to the MCU and to the Netflix universe. And hasn't even hit me that Daredevil's not coming back. They have to wait a couple of years now. I don't know if there's a movie loophole with that, but I don't know. I'm bummed that this is it. I can't wait to see Jigsaw, and I got to see how it's represented now. If they're pulling the stuff from the comics, but I have to say this again. I think going the whole alt-right Christian, I got to see how it's represented in the show. If it's typical and basic, I will rip it to shreds. But I don't think it's gonna, because they're actually taking some of this from the comic that's pretty good. So you got to see things in context. But I do think it's very easy to pick on the Christian religion in particular right now. And I'm saying this as I'm not a religious person at all, period. But it just seems like low-hanging fruit right now. And Hollywood seems to be picking a lot of that lately. And I will remain critical about it. But that being said, I like the first episode. John Bernthal is great. The acting it is top notch. The directing is top notch. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. So I don't know what you guys think of it, but we will see. Is Dark Matter still going? No, it's not.
No.
It got canceled.
Done.
That's one of the shows. Yeah, like Susan said, the last few years have been a bloodbath for genre TV, and it sucks. I think Netflix binge shows were a fad that died out. I kind of think so too, Cthulhu. I think they oversaturated, and they're seeing what I've said before, and I will say it again. If your show isn't good and you drop everything at once, you just spent hundreds of millions of dollars on something that's forgotten in 72 hours.
Yeah.
If you put out a show once a week, which I know some of the kids don't like, you have YouTubers talking about your show once a week.
And it's publicity.
And it's free publicity. I offer so much free publicity to TV shows. And you know what? I don't want anything. I don't. I really, truly don't, because I don't want to be compromised. But not even from The Expanse. Not that they would. But heroes murder because they don't the same villains come back over and over again 50 years later, like Spider-Man, Captain America. Punisher is scum.
Wow.
I didn't see that one. Some people don't like the Punisher. Joss Whedon doesn't like the Punisher. I enjoyed season. Well, I know Joss Whedon has famously said if he took over the Marvel Universe, first thing he'd do is get rid of the Punisher. And first thing I would do is get rid of Joss Whedon. I enjoyed season 2 of the Punisher, but it was for calzone truck related reasons. Okay. Punisher is so good so far. 4 episodes, says Ken Olsen. 9 times out of 10, when 2 people are equal skill fight, the larger person will win regardless of gender. Guitardist. Yes. Yes. I listen, I've been in some scraps. I've been in many scraps in my life, and the bigger person wins 9 times out of 10, unless the bigger person is like completely drunk, completely out of shape. Or the person who is smaller is a very skilled person. But usually, yeah, the bigger person wins. That bathroom fight, it was interesting. It was good. I liked it. A Mystic Seer says Glass is not a good sequel. Oh, it's disappointing. I'm one of the few who like the Inhumans. Okay. But I Cthulhu, I agree with you as far as the binge model. I think it is something that you shouldn't make a show for. You should put your show out weekly and then binge it later. You can always binge stuff later, but when you consume a series quickly, and you start doing it more and more, you get tired of it.
Yeah.
You get tired of it.
Personally, I like what AMC does. They, and what the History Channel does is, they'll give you the episode after you've watched it, but they'll keep it on their site. So if you want to go back and binge it, you can. I like that idea.
Yeah, exactly. If the little person has a gun or a weapon and the bigger person does not, generally the person with the weapon wins. Okay, but we're talking about fist fights. Yeah, well, I mean, listen, that's one of the dumbest things in Hollywood. And it's not just a female thing; it's a male thing. It's straight up. When you see somebody's head cracked into a porcelain toilet, they're dead. They're freaking dead. They're not getting. They're like, oh, that was nothing. Just a flesh wound. No, they're dead. Yeah. You get hit by a 300-pound dude, you are not getting back up. You're not. I don't want to get too personal in here. I have right here, your orbital bone. I'm missing a big chunk of it right here from getting hit by a very large man.
Wow.
Yeah. My glasses flew across the room. I didn't even see it coming. It was just a sucker punch and boom, knocked me clean out. Yeah.
Wow.
That was it.
You didn't even have time to get pissed and get back.
No. As a matter of fact, I felt like a nanosecond of pain, and then everything just went black. Everything went black. I can't tell you this. I can't tell you. Unfortunately, I can't. Maybe on Patreon, but I can't tell the circumstances of where I was and what led to it. But let's just say I didn't deserve it. But I didn't see it coming either. And I'm glad he didn't hit me in the glasses, or my nose would have been just destroyed. And unfortunately, my nose. Well, yeah, yes. So a little chip out of my orbital bone came out, and yeah, so I got a little scar there.
Wow.
Luckily he didn't hit me in the glass. I've already had my nose broken once from getting hit in the glasses, so that didn't feel good. I got a crooked nose from it. I had a little work done it, but not much. It's still crooked, but it was flat when it was broken. It was not funny.
Oh,
you had to do that.
No.
Oh yeah. I was really loaded, so I didn't feel much.
Well, at least you didn't get the Mickey Rourke treatment.
Oh God, no. Oh my God, he did the voiceover for that Bob Lazar thing, which was great. But like, he's Bob Lazar. I'm like, what did he say? I mean, it's really cool how he's saying it, but I can't understand a fucking word he's saying.
Oh my God.
Have you seen the Bob Lazar video, the Area 51 and the Flying Saucers? It's actually pretty good. Jeremy Corbell's film. I like it. Jeremy Corbell's a talented guy, man. He can pull something out of his butt as far as filmmaking is concerned. He does the kind of filmmaking I wanted to do when I went to school and everything, the documentary type. And STD is the only streaming show that every episode comes out all at once. It's coming out once a week. Amazon mixes it up, but it looks like that's another thing about The Expanse, folks. We're getting it all at once. It's dropping all at once.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't like it. Well, it hurts the channel.
Yeah.
I can only get like maybe 2 live streams out of it, which sucks because that's from 10 to 2. That's another reason I don't like the model. But I've
question though. I know that The Expanse is an hour-long show. It's not like it's a half hour, but who has the time to binge these shows? Seriously, I don't know who has the time.
Mrs. Nerderotic manages to do it when I'm live streaming. She's That's why my live streams. I got to work on that. I got to get a separate connection or something. Yeah, she's always streaming something. So she manages to do it, but no, she can like watch 2 shows at a time. And believe me, she works like 10, 12-hour days. She owns a business, she travels and shit, and she somehow manages to do it. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know, but there's plenty of people doing it. I have to like cancel stuff, and like for Punisher, it's going to be after the stream. I'm going to watch the Axonar thing, and then we're going to watch a couple Punishers, then I'm going to watch a couple in the morning, and I watch an hour in the gym, and something like that. Let's get to plan the live streams and do a watch party before it. I'm open to doing a watch. We can do a watch party. It wouldn't be a stream I would keep up, but if you guys want to do that, let's do it. We can certainly do that. For the Expanse premiere, we will do a watch party for sure. And I'm thinking about doing one for American Gods as well. Good Omens is coming, folks, and can't wait for that.
Can't wait for that one.
We can always do it when Doctor Who comes back in 2020. Jeez, it seems so far away.
I think with that, I'm gonna give it one shot, and then. Yeah, if I get hit over the head, that's it.
Look for in the next few months, you're going to see lots of changes with that show. Once the realities hit them. But listen, what happened with Star Trek Discovery? What did we get? New writers, things change. Pike came in, Spock. Look for the same stuff to happen with Doctor Who season 12. Captain Jack's going to come back. Yeah, they're going to Catherine Tate. There was already a rumor that Catherine Tate wanted to return, so yeah, it's you're going to see stuff. They're very similar in circumstance, and because they went at things in a very similar way.
Yeah, but aren't we going to still get hit over the head? Because that's what Chib said. Chib was like, we're still going to do that, and I don't even know if John Barrowman and Catherine Tate coming back is going to help me with this message crap.
A Justice League Snyder cut on March 6th, or a director's cut. I don't think that would change the movie very much. I mean, listen, I was just happy to see Superman and Batman flying, not flying around, but together. But as a comic book fan, but it's still an awful movie. Thundar the Barbarian, the movie. I would watch that. I would definitely watch that. I love Thundar. That was an awesome cartoon.
They should put Ricky Gervais as the Doctor. Oh, Lord.
No. It'd be better than what we have now. When I'm constantly laid up in bed because of some injury I've sustained to myself. Well, Amy's, what are you doing? Are you a stunt woman? Just kidding. I'll always binge my shows. Yeah, when you're sick or you're injured, that's the best time to do it.
Yeah, I've done that.
Oh, yeah. There's certain kind of things I like to watch when I'm sick, though. I don't like bombastic stuff when I'm sick. Court Jester, I was just talking about it last week. That's like a go-to when I'm like really sick. I just watch some Danny Kaye and drink lots of liquids. Yeah, it's very soothing. I read both books. Okay, Bull, that's good.
When I had pneumonia, I was like watching Discovery ID channel a lot. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, this is on. Yeah, that's what I did. And I would, sleep in between, wake up. Yeah.
I went to my friend, John, he used to be a co-host. I went to his wedding up in Tahoe, and Mrs. Neurotic was doing the hair. So it was a lot of me sitting around a hotel room because I didn't want to go watch them do hair. Yeah. And I was in, couldn't get any streaming service. So I was on a hotel room, like cheap Tahoe hotel room cable. And Flipping Vegas was on, and I got addicted to it. And I just watched Flipping Vegas, and to the point where she would come to pick me up. I'm all, wait, I'm not done. I got to see what they did with the living room on this one. So yeah, and the guy was such a dick in that show. I loved him, Scott Yancey.
Have you seen the Portlandia episode where Fred Armisen and
yes.
you know what I'm talking about? The
yes.
One More.
Yes. I love Portlandia. That was such a good one.
I was like, that's me. That when Dexter, I binged Dexter, and that was me with Dexter. Oh, the lights have gone out. Oh, quick, call the company. I'm too busy here.
Yeah. Awoke Thundar. Awoke Thundar. You can't even have a woke barbarian. How do you have a woke barbarian?
That would defeat the purpose of a barbarian.
Yeah. Does he apologize after Thundar rated NC-17? Now Thundar needs to be like, kind of almost a porn. I think it would be good that way. The producers failed to see that Grant Gustin and better chemistry with the actress playing Linda Park than he does with Candice Patton. Are you talking about The Flash? Is it good this season? I haven't even watched it. I got bored the other day. Distress. I played Captain Caveman for like 4 hours for background noise last week. That shows that's a show the SJWs wouldn't love. Yeah. Idris pronounced with the I sounds like is. It isn't pronounced Idris. It's Idris. I say Idris. It's supposed to be Idris Elba.
Well, now we know.
But I'm a dumb American, so my best friend tells me Flash is his favorite show right now. We aren't into comic book stuff normally, so I'm intrigued. Yeah, if you're not into comic book stuff, maybe Flash was always one of the better shows on that network, but I have not seen Reign of the Superman Scarlet Trek. I want to, though. Is it good? I think Nerdrotic Jr. has seen it, though. He's all Nerdrotic Jr. wants me to do a podcast on the Teen Titans now, on the cartoon, the good one. I'm like, oh, wow, you're all interested in me now when you're not watching other channels. No way Thunder gets made in this climate. Yeah, you're right, Mr. Twisted 72. Amazon canceled Conan. They had a Conan series going, and they canceled it because there's no way in hell you could make a Barbarian series in 2019, which sucks. I didn't watch Roswell. No. Joseph, Mrs. Nerdrotic did and said it sucked, and she loved the original. So,
yeah, I avoided the new one.
Yeah,
because I saw yeah.
No, that's precise. Things are getting bad when Mrs. Nerdrotic said SJW, Tarka Jedi. She did.
Yeah, I'm glad she gave that review because I'll just take a pass on it.
She's going to be joining me for Deadly Class. Now, apparently, I don't know why, but they premiered the premiere again, which it's been out for like a month. And then they dropped the first episode, and then the second episode's like 2 weeks from now. I don't know. That sounds like sci-fi, sci-fi to me. So she will be joining me when she gets back from Japan on the Deadly Class recaps. Oh yeah, I covered it. FP Sony, it's on my channel. I have a review of the first episode. Mikey Spock as the new companion for Doctor Who. That might be a way to actually kill me. It might be a way.
That could possibly end Doctor Who.
Strawberry Hellcat responding to Guitardus. By the way, Guitardus, great name. Sorry I didn't say that sooner. Great name. I love it. Remember the good old days when the most controversial thing about Doctor Who was the Doctor does not snog. Yes. Yeah. Oh God. Remember when we were wondering if Roy was the master? The good old days.
I never got that off of him.
Oh, there was a big thing. Actually, it made a ton of sense. This is before we knew Moffat was like the king of the red herring, and he was mystery boxing the hell out of us. There was a huge Rory is the master theory, and the God complex one, where they're in the hotel that won't let you go, that you have to worship the god and everything.
Yeah.
Rory was the only one given an exit door. There was a lot of the reason Rory kept coming back to life. Yeah. And if you think it through, it would have been brilliant. It would have been so brilliant to make him him being a companion, and he's got the fob watch, and he's just like, has no idea who he is. And then later on you reveal him as the master, and it crushes Amy. I mean, like, it would have been great. but they didn't do it.
Yeah, that could have been an episode that would have been like great and a tearjerker.
Yeah, all at once. And there's an idea that hasn't been done yet. You have the Master traveling with the Doctor for an entire season. You don't do the reveal for like a season and a half minimum, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And yes, it's similar to the Utopia one, but I mean, if it works, it works. Who cares if it's fracking similar? Everything's similar. The Master would never lower himself. Well, the Master has, oh God, yes. The Master would lower themselves to certain things out of desperation. It depends though. It depends.
I wonder if they'll bring back the Master in 2020.
Oh, they're bringing. Oh, I lost that train of thought. Thank you. They're bringing back Captain Jack. Don't be surprised they try to get Tennant. Yeah, they'll bring back the Master for sure. Do you think they bring back Missy?
Oh, she's on Sabrina. I don't. In the way that they told her she wouldn't be coming back, I don't think she would.
Yeah. Michelle Gomez, yeah, they did all the old cast right. The BBC like has a real problem with how they treat people.
Yeah,
apparently. So,
and she was vocal about it too.
That might be something to look into, guys. Yeah, if anybody's got any BBC stories, nerderotics@gmail.com.
I would love to see Jodie regenerate into David Tennant. That's a dream.
A two-headed Doctor would rule out a companion, not necessarily DJ Bowman. So you're saying you have Zaphod Beeblebrox be the Doctor. There needs to be a Zaphod Beeblebrox show, but not produced in 2019. Maybe in a couple of years when things. Oh, let's be real. Things aren't ever going back to normal, are they? I hope so. Have you seen the BBC series from 2014 to 2003 called Utopia? I've seen a little bit of it. It was all right. Dinklage as the Doctor would get me back. He would actually be a really good Doctor, but would you get a Yank to do that? Yes, Angel Feliciano, Zaphod Beeblebrox is that two-headed character.
William Jenkins gave us a $5 super chat. Thanks so much, William. I heard Battlestar Galactica is getting a reboot movie. Please tell me this is wrong.
It is not wrong. Oh. They're going to be continuing. I don't think it's either a reboot or continuance from the original, not Ronald D. Moore's. So they're going to go back to like, male Starbuck and Boxy and yeah. So we'll see. I'm a huge fan of that franchise. Just major fan.
I heard Ronald D. Moore is working on a new series. Have you heard anything about that? It's
supposed to be for Apple. Apple has had some genre stuff in development for, it seems like, years now, and they're supposed to launch. It's supposed to be on iTunes or something like that, but I don't know if it's happening or yeah.
I'd like to know what's going on with Apple because they keep on announcing all these major names. Now M. Night Shyamalan's doing a half-hour thriller for them. I'm like, that's nice, but when are they ever going to go to production?
That's a good question. I think they are waiting to buy a studio. That's my I think they might swing in and buy a Paramount or a Sony. Don't be surprised. I can't tell you what the BBC stands for. Why not, Tarka? Would it get your? You might not want to die. Have you seen a DuckTales reboot? What? The Whovian refs are back off the scale, but I think Tennant's coming back. Save a cameo or two. Really?
Wow.
No. Galaxy Quest the series. Yes.
Is that really happening, or is that just a thought?
No, it's in the works now. Again, it's in the works as much as like Section 31's in the works, but they were gonna like Galaxy Quest and the Doctor's Daughter and Wife. Yeah, I like them all. Yes, all three of those are good. All three of those are really good.
I could get excited about Galaxy Quest if I know who's behind it.
Yeah. I can't remember. It wasn't anybody memorable that I can think of at this point in time, but All right, folks, we're past 2 hours. We're gonna wrap up. Susan has to go to bed, and I have videos to make, and I got to get some fracking sleep too. But thank you all for it. We had we had 400 people at one time. We have over 300 the whole time. You guys are brilliant on a Friday night. It's late, and I know we have a ton of people from Europe. So if you guys are like, well, what time is it over there now? It's probably early in the morning over there. So
yeah, probably like 9ish maybe.
Hey, I'm coming to the UK in a matter of months. I'm going to be in the UK. So I want to do a meetup with my European friends, even if it's like just a couple of us in a pub somewhere. And I don't even drink, but I'll buy you a drink in the pub. I'll buy you a pint or whatever the hell you call it these days. And thank you, Cato. And we will take a look at the at my new Patreon video, which is kind of, hey, I'm working. I haven't decided on totally what I'm going to do. Yeah, but this works for now. I'm pretty sure I spelled everybody's name right on this one, but I'm sure I missed one. It's not like I copy and paste these. I do this all by hand on my screen flow. So there we go. Everybody, thank you for joining, especially when we had everybody was streaming tonight, and thank you for choosing us. I truly appreciate that. Thank you to my wrenches, Cato Roan, Penn Farm Girl, Mako. It was good to see you in there. And I got to thank the super chats too when this is done. Jody, it's good to see you, my friend. Man, so many of you in here. This is so cool. This really, if you guys, live streaming is my favorite thing to do. Videos is cool and everything, but I love the interaction. Let's get to the super chats here. Why don't you read one chat while I get to the super chats?
Sure. Let's see what we've got going on in the chat. Everybody's telling us good night. Well, that's great. Good night. We're glad that you guys stuck with us. And on a serious note, like Gary said, this is, we love doing this for you guys. You guys are the reason why we're here. We want to thank you for choosing us, because we know there's a lot of other channels out there, a lot of colleagues that are, doing their thing right now. But you guys are great. 32,000, over 32,000 subs. Thanks to the old co-hosts, the new co-hosts. This is just great. And, we couldn't say thank you enough for choosing us. So that's really, really important.
Yeah. You guys have changed my life. It's that kind of big now. I mean, it's to the point where like my parents notice. Well, my mom's, I got two. Yeah, I've got old coworkers calling me out of the blue going, yeah, your channel's like going well. I know it's weird. Remember, I had an old boss who used to get on my ass about checking the channel all the time. Called me and said, I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, that's why I don't like bosses,
Yeah.
It's hard to go back once you've been one. You know what I mean? It's really, really, really hard to go back. You eventually learn. But.
Well, Target Jedi, thanks for putting 50K out there. I mean, that would be nice.
Like I said, if we stop right now, I'm good. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to try. No. These things go through ebbs or flows, but we will continue to make videos. Here's what the analytics tell me. People really like it when I go after critics. So that's something that absolutely comes natural. Okay. Not that I'm not to sound cocky. No, it's like, I just have a disdain for them lately. There's somebody, I actually used to not be a critic hater. I used to love critics. I used to love reading Rex Reed and all that. That was my, when I was a kid, I went to the entertainment section. I read critics. There was critics I respected and would hang on their every word. I remember hating Gene Siskel and liking Roger Ebert. I hated Siskel. He freaking hated everything.
Everybody did.
But honestly, he was the most honest and real out of them. And I was so sad when he died. But listen, watching those guys on PBS when it was at the movies, you know, with Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel. It was great. Okay, so super chats. JPRPH1 14.99. Mark Tuttle $5. Justin Poor, Australian $2. Scaro Trek $2. Silhouetted Animator $5. Silhouetted Animator, you're awesome. JPRPH1 $4.99. The Doctor 14. Blu-ray Reviews £2. Thank you very much. Thank you. The Big Red Bear, 10 Canadian dollars. Peter Davison and his lovely mother, Mrs. Davison, Australian $10. Gary Bell, 5 Canadian dollars. The Big Red Bear, 5 Canadian dollars. ST Fanboy, $5. Justin Poor, 5 Australian dollars. Strawberry Hellcat, which is just a good name. It should be a band. Was it a band? Maybe it was a band. I was thinking Strawberry Switchblade, but $5. Formerly Rod Line. What are you now? You're formerly Rod Line, but you have to be something now, don't you? $1.99. Agent Future. From the future, this agent is $5. Yes. And William Jenkins. Wow. Is this a new one? It must be a new one. Did I miss this one? Yeah. Oh, it's Battlestar Galactica. Okay, shoo, $10. Thomas Potts, $4.99 at 10:01. Okay, yeah, got that one too. Thank you, sir. Scaro Trek for $2 and William Jenkins for $5. Don't let Hollywood destroy another hashtag. I heard Battlestar Galactica reboot. It's unfortunately it's true, they're doing it, and what I read, it didn't bode well. William Jenkins. Tell you what, Williams, I will dig up that article. I've actually covered it on a nooner. I will cover it again. I'll dig up that article for Monday. So if you can't catch it live, just watch it as a video. And yeah, that's just, you know, watch the old Battlestar Galactica. It's good. You got two good versions. Susan, plug your wares.
Sure. You can catch me when I'm not here at 1428elm.com. You can find me on Twitter at Susan on the Ledge. You can also follow us at 1428_Elm on Twitter. We're also on Facebook, 1428Elm and myself. And both of us are on Instagram. I'm at De Facto Tribe, and of course at 1428Elm.
Oh, did I lose a piece already? I must have lost a piece.
$2 from Cato Roan, £2, I think, just because I want you to go on for a minute more. Thanks, Cato.
Well, I'm doing the unboxing of this loot crate, but they forgot to give me the stand. Unless I just dropped it or something. Did I drop it? Nope. They didn't give me my little the thing you hold it up with.
Yeah.
It's gone. So it's all right. I will just hang it from the ceiling. But we got our Rocinante. Check it out. Check. There we go. That's the diorama. It's supposed to go like this, but they didn't give me the little peg things that go in there.
Well, thank you, Amy. We will keep fighting the good fight.
Oh God, yes. Okay, so plugging some videos, guys. Also, you know, let me know if I can see the analytics and I can see what people like and what we don't. And I just got to say that there's certain passion projects I do, you know, like Counterpart doesn't get a ton of views, but I'd like for it to get more, but I'm going to continue doing it because I love that show. And I love talking to you guys about that show. I'm going to be, the Rotten Tomatoes thing is not something I ever planned to do. It's just something I did. And in digging through it, I found there's tons of content from that you can take that's actually interesting, that you can learn a lot about the entertainment industry if you read between the lines on some of this stuff. And just in searching, just through my Doctor Who travels, I found a lot of other things. I'm like, oh God, I should do a video on that. We're also going to do a live stream. This is really for our UK and European friends on Article 13. We're going to end don't worry. I don't think there's a worry of that getting political. We don't talk about politics. I'm talking about it as kind of a content creator point of view. I want to be available in Europe because a very large percentage of our subscribers are in Europe. So it matters to me. And even if it was one, it would matter to me. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. It's something I've been mulling around, and I think we're going to actually do it. So if you want to hear it, let me know. And let me know in the comments and stuff. It's very dangerous. Yes. I really I will make sure I'm up on my research on that. So save counterpart, hashtag save counterpart. It's not too soon, folks.
Yeah.
It is not too soon. Just to talk about it, share it, do what you got to do to watch it. And yeah, keep good shows on the air. Keep good shows on the air. So again, thank you everybody. And you love the Exozone. Yes, Exozone will be next week on this channel. Actually, Doomcock and I recorded an extra hour and a half because we were cut off because the Illuminati cut us off in the midstream. So we meant to record a half an hour, and we ended up doing an hour and a half. And I thought it was really good. I thought it was fun. So go check it out and talk with 6 Scale Combat about Article 13, says Cato Roan. Okay, 6 Scale, if you're out there, DM me. We'll get together. We'll talk. Thank you all so much. Susan, say goodnight.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Till next time, we will meet again.